1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Today, many of you folks are aware that the Trump trial, being the first time a former president has been placed on trial in U.S. history, that is coming to a conclusion. So the Trump trial is coming to a conclusion. But we want to tackle a few questions. Obviously, Trump stated that 95% of the jury in that trial were Democrats. I don't know if there's any evidence of that, but he did state that 95% of the jury that he's facing in his trial are Democrats. Suggested that he could not get a fair shake and that trial is rigged. Now, what I want to ask you folks, because he walked out of court today and stated that the trial there, the Alvin Bragg trial in New York, is rigged. There's no verdict, folks. Has been no verdict. This jury could actually believe the trial Trump is facing is complete bullshit. They may actually rule that Trump is not guilty. So what I want to ask is it wrong, or should Trump address, rethink the statement of saying that all of this stuff is rigged before it even comes to a conclusion? There is no conclusion on what the jury thinks of the case. They may think Alvin Bragg is bullshit. They may think Michael Cohen is a complete liar, and they may rule in Trump's favor. Yet Trump is already saying that they're all rigged. They're 95% of the jury's Democrats. He's insulting the hell out of them. By the way, Novocaine. Yeah! Thank you for the hat mustache. So, as you see, the title of today's live stream is simple. Is it all rigged? It's all rigged. We're going to tackle this from a number of angles. But first, we do want to ask, do you believe the trial in New York City is rigged? In other words, Trump has zero chance of being acquitted, zero chance of a hung jury, because it's all rigged. It's already pre-designed for him to fail, because that is what he's stating. But we're going to go way beyond that. The title of the live stream is It's All Rigged. Talk to you about a few things. Now, remember, Trump states that the 2020 election was rigged. And there's a hell of a lot of people that believe that believe that Trump won the 2020 election. It was rigged by the Democrats, particularly at the behest of Joe Biden, and stolen from Trump. We'll talk about it. But it goes way beyond that. When Trump was running in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, remember, he came down the escalator and stated then it was all rigged, pointing to how the Democrats were rigging things against Democratic contender Bernie Sanders. Now, once he won the election, that kind of changed, but he was saying the 2016 election was rigged. But I also want to point out, when Trump was running for the Republican nominee, to be the Republican, to be the head of the RNC, the Republican National Committee, when he was running in 2015, who was in that race? Huckabee, I know Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio was in that race. Well, Ted Cruz, for a short time, Senator Ted Cruz now, was actually leading Trump in the state of Iowa. Trump said that Ted Cruz was rigging that election. Ted Cruz was stealing votes. Now, you see the thing? Asking the question, is all this stuff rigged? Now, remember the 2022, the alleged red wave? Think Dr. Oz versus Fetterman, Pennsylvania Senate contention, the Senate race. Dr. Oz eventually lost that race. Trump stepped in, though, and stated they were cheating and rigging the election in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, Dr. Oz stepped up and corrected him and said, no, that's not happening here. Dr. Oz said that, even though Dr. Oz lost that race in Pennsylvania. Now, we talk about the 2020 election. Many folks do believe that's rigged. We'll talk about that. But once again, during the 2020 election, we know that Trump believes that Arizona, Georgia, I believe Wisconsin, perhaps Michigan, a few states in Nevada were rigged against him. North Carolina, we're going to talk about. North Carolina, leading up to the 2020 election, because of Biden going there, pastors speaking to the black community, Biden was leading in North Carolina right up to November 2020. Now, remember, Trump won North Carolina, but right up to that election, Trump said North Carolina was rigging their votes. It was being rigged in North Carolina. Now, once he won that, we haven't heard anything else about it, but he was saying North Carolina was a rigged election. And that was probably because Biden was leading there for a time. So now we're talking about 95% of the jury in New York under the Alvin Bragg case being Democrats. That too, Trump is suggesting that the case is rigged. So I'm going to be asking you folks the simple question today. This may sound packaged. A lot of you folks may disagree with this, but I'll present it to you. You know I don't mind dissenting opinion. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their damn commentary. You don't have to agree with anybody on the program, including yours truly. I get criticism all the time. Hell, I invite it. But I'm going to package this up and ask a simple question. Is the world rigged against President Trump? Is everything that does not go Trump's way, is it due to rigging? Because that is what he seems to be alleging. I want somebody to let me know, where am I seeing this wrong? Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe I'm overstating it. As always, the program is forever shall remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests, but liberals are welcome as well. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. So understand you're going to hear opinions from all sides on the show as usual. So I'll go straight to the comments section. Wow, there's a lot of comments coming in already. Wow. Tis not a, what it says, it is not a global thing. I don't quite get that. Trump didn't affect the poor class. Biden did. Did he affect them good or bad? MAGA cult is not Republican Party. Republicans crossing over to Biden. I don't know about that one. Payalo, I think that says, no, you don't look like a smart man. Stop it. Thank you for the, I guess that's not necessarily a compliment, but Susie, thank you, by the way. Appreciate your input, whether you agree or not. Trump's whole life is rigged. Wow. Wow. Let me just say this. Trump has done very well in life. He's not just in the 1%, he is in the 0.1%. Yet everything was rigged against him, huh? That's strong statement. Nevertheless, the box is open, by the way. No, that is in his mind. All the mess he's done all his life is coming to head. At 77, he's done okay. The man has done okay. Real quick on YouTube, Arletha Curry says, hello. Thank you. Welcome, Arletha. Hello to you as well. Come on, man. Give me a break. Handsome. What a way to stir the shit pile. How can we stir the shit pile if we actually take quotes and ask you how you feel about them? If the quote stirs the shit pile, then maybe the author of the steering is the owner of the quote. I'm not making anything up here. We all know the stuff I'm stating actually happened. So if bringing up the things that happened stirs the shit pile, let's discuss why it happened. It's as simple as that. Going straight to the box. I will bring on up J Mad. It's an interesting name. Good afternoon, J Mad. Welcome to the program, assuming the box brings him up. J Mad, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, so what do you think? Is the world rigged against Trump?
Yes, I believe the world is rigged against Trump because they see that Trump can actually bring tension between the middle class and the higher class. We got to understand a lot of the economics of the United States is poor. Mm-hmm. We don't even understand how, now we're understand how inflation and everything can affect us now. Trump didn't do that. Uh, Obama didn't even do that. But Biden, this is the first time that the poor class has been affected. This is the first time that every class of Americans have been affected because of an election.
Really?
And they want, yeah.
Now
they
I'm
want us to
hearing.
say,
Now let me interrupt and I'll let you continue. But over the Memorial holiday, the Transportation Safety Administration, the TSA at the airports, recorded their largest number of screened passengers in their history. More Americans flew on Memorial Day than any other holiday they've measured in history. The AAA, you heard of roadside assistance, they also stated over 38 million Americans used the highway system over Memorial Day, and they too said that is the highest number of travelers they've recorded since they've been taking numbers since the year 2000. If everybody's hurting, why are they able to travel and pretty much go places? Taylor Swift is not having trouble selling out tickets. Why is that happening?
because they made it where the things that we need now are being overpriced. Like, far as our essential needs, those are the things. So things that you want to do, they're still going to go up high too. But they understand people don't care about buying things that they want. It's only a care about when you're buying something that you need. You're going to look at the price about something that you're buying when you need it.
Yeah. How do you respond to folks who would suggest that the increase in prices is not necessarily the fault of the president, but of corporate greed and price gouging?
Who allowed those legal agreements to happen? Who allowed those contracts to go through?
So are you suggesting that the president,
the Democratic Party?
Okay, let's go with that. Are you suggesting the Democratic Party should use big government to control the contracts and pricing of corporate business?
Can you rephrase that to a dumber down that?
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. You're saying that the Democratic Party is the one that allowed these contracts to take place, the price gouging. What I'm asking you is, are you saying that the Democratic Party should use the power of big government to control how much businesses can charge for their goods and services?
Yes.
So you're not for small government?
No.
Okay. Now, so if we vote for Trump, he is in favor of small government.
Yeah, but the way that Trump ran it, it did not affect my class of people. That's what I'm trying to say. The way that Trump ran this country, it did not affect my class of people. I'm not saying that I am rich. I'm not saying that I am in the bracket that most Americans are in. And I don't think that people need to, I don't think that people understand the brackets of class that they're in. But when you really get down to it, everybody that's really just sitting on this platform right here, strolling up and down, if you're not working or if you're not by far rich, then we're all in the same class level, being poor.
So what do you
Whether
think?
You're black or white.
So what do you think Trump would do if a company is gouging prices?
He will attack the bigger. He's attacking the bigger fries.
Explain what you mean by that.
Okay, so like far as our oil and everything, we get it from Iran. Trump was willing to go over there and go get it. Being not saying start a war, a resignation war, but he was willing to go.
How can you, wait? You're saying we get our oil from Iran?
We get Iran. No, we get our oil from over there. Not Iran.
You said Iran.
That's my headphones. I do apologize.
Okay. What were you trying to say before your headphones?
We get our oil from over there.
Okay.
From over in different places, right?
Okay.
From different countries.
Okay. Trump was claiming we were energy independent. You're saying we're actually dependent on other countries. He claims we were energy independent.
We are, and that's why he is going to be the one to change that. Right now, we're going through different stuff because of Biden.
Wait a minute. If Trump is saying we're energy independent, yet you're saying we're getting our oil from over there, That doesn't
Right
sound like
now.
we're independent. That sounds like
Right
we're
now.
dependent on over there.
No, right now.
Okay. So under Trump, where were we getting our oil from?
We'll be getting it ourselves. We'll have it ourselves. That's what he's saying. We don't have to go get it from anyone else.
Okay. Now, you do understand that since Biden has been in office, the drilling actually has continued. We are getting our oil from ourselves. It's just easier to refine it when we get it from over there.
And it's higher.
Yeah.
It's higher. How are we getting it from ourselves now and it's higher?
Yeah.
How?
Well,
how?
That's the price gouging we're talking about.
That's what I'm saying also. But how, though? That's our Democratic Party doing that to us.
How does the Democratic Party force people to price gouge?
That's our people doing that to us. What do you mean? How do they force people? They allow it.
And so what are you saying that Trump, if I'm a company, let's say I'm Kellogg's, I make cereal and a host of other breakfast products, and I decide I'm going to start charging 70 cents more for a box of cereal. What is Trump going to do to make me go back to charging less?
Trump is a bully. What do you mean? What is he going to do?
I'm asking you.
I personally don't know what he's going to do, but he is going to do something.
Okay. So you don't really know, but you feel confident he will do something. Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. Fair enough. Yes. Fair enough. Yeah. Now, you could be wrong. You do understand that, right?
I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong.
Is he saying what he will actually do? He's running a platform. He's having rallies all over the place. Is he actually telling folks what he will do? Because he is, as you pointed out, saying he would bring prices down. Is he actually telling the folks
how he's going to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, with different plans. He's not saying actually how he do it, but he's telling us how he's going to fix the infrastructure of this country.
Well, you got an infrastructure bill under Biden, so give me how Trump would improve the infrastructure.
We don't have an infrastructure built upon Biden. We don't.
So the infrastructure bill did not happen?
It's not built upon Biden. This is something he piggybacked off of what Trump was already doing.
Oh, so but if Trump was already doing it, then why do we need an infrastructure bill to begin with?
Because it's four different. It's different opinions every 4 years. It's a different opinion every 4 years.
All right, fair enough. So Trump is the man. So just wanted to ask you before I move it on, and I do appreciate you coming on.
Just a person with the criminal justice degree. I don't have a liberal. I do have a liberal arts degree. I don't have a politician degree or anything. I have a criminal justice degree for people that's she's dumb.
People are listen, J Man. It's good to have you on. People are going to criticize you no matter what your opinion is here.
No doubt, I understand.
Don't worry about that. I get criticized on every program, but at the end of the day, you mentioned having a criminal justice degree.
Law enforcement.
President Trump suggesting that the justice system is after him.
I went to the University of Texas, El Paso. I worked on the border. I understand what he is saying. I felt that type of lifestyle. Like I really want Trump to come do something down there in El Paso.
Okay, fair enough. All right. And you may get that. Some 5 months out, but J-Man, I do got to move it on. You're always welcome back anytime.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Thank you as well.
Still here in the comments.
Hey, you're going to get that. Moving the program on, though. Love for You. Some folks favored her, others didn't. She sounds like she doesn't sound like she has any degree, somebody said. But look, you're going to get criticism and you're going to get favoritism, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on in the comments. Gregory, thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeehaw! Some folks were asking, well, haven't you been on? And, I haven't been on consistently. Had some car repairs and all of that shit, and I got to make a video about Car Shield. Oh, my God. I will move it on shortly, but I've had them for a number of years. Car Shield, you see the Ice-T commercials, Vivica A. Fox commercials. Damn car had a host of issues that needed to get repaired. They didn't cover a damn thing. $3,000 car repair bill. So I might be actually promoting a bit of sponsorship on the program today. But yeah, Car Shield, I'm broke because of that shit. I was so pissed off, didn't cover anything. Anyhow, going back to the comment section, Uncle says the villain. I'm assuming you mean Uncle Ruckus or Uncle Tom or something. I don't know. Obama and Hillary had a 16-year plan to capture America for World Economic Forum. Trump stopped them. A 16-year plan to capture America for World Economic Forum. What? I don't know. I don't know what any of that is, and I don't even remember hearing Trump complain about that. What are you talking about? Vote Trump and you will get a new car. Really? I don't know anybody that received a new car via Trump. Maybe you should reelect Oprah. She's the one that actually has a record of doing that. I don't know about Trump giving out new cars. Remember, Trump is the one that believes in self-reliance. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't get free shit. That's socialism. Your statement literally counters Trump's entire platform. That doesn't make any sense, but I do appreciate the comment. Going back to the box, by the way, tap the screen, 750 of you in here, 750 plus of you in here. Could be anywhere you want to be this Wednesday afternoon. So I do appreciate that. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to around 20,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, I implore you to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m., Monday through Friday, 1,300 hours is where you'll find us. Moo! The tuxedo cat coming straight out of the dugout, heavy hitter. Good afternoon, Moo.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I don't know, man. I'm hearing that it's all rigged. The system is rigged. The universe is rigged against Trump. What say you?
Well, I mean, it is a rigged system, but, you know, it's rigged for everybody. You know, Trump's got very special treatment from these courts, from the system in general, right? Because any normal human being done half the shit that Trump's done, no matter what you want to talk about, would already be in prison. So, yeah, the system's rigged. It's rigged in his favor. He'd be in jail if it wasn't already, right?
But I'm hearing...
I just want to address this oil thing.
Real quick, before you address the oil thing, I'm hearing that what Trump did, no other person would be charged with. They're going specifically after him. He's saying the opposite, Mo.
So, well, how many people have access to classified documents other than the president? Right? So I'm going to go get charged with stealing classified documents because I have access to that kind of thing. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard, man. Seriously. He's the president of the United States, which is why he's encountered the crimes he had. You guys aren't going to encounter those crimes because most of you are too dumb to be president, right? Most of you. I mean, you know, like your last caller, right, with her fake degree and shit, and bullshit her degree.
The lady has a degree, man. The lady.
So this is why you can't let MAGA talk about anything because they don't know shit, right? The oil that comes up out of the soil in America, we can't use it, you morons, because we can't refine it, because you don't make the corporations update their refining equipment so that we can actually use the oil in our own soil. You can't be energy independent when you have a finite source of where you get your energy from. You people like failed basic education. I swear to God, man, we're going to be energy independent on oil. You can't be. It's a finite resource, you goons.
Well, Trump is telling folks that, though. You telling me Trump don't know what he's talking about either?
Trump says a lot of shit, right? This is why MAGA shouldn't be allowed to vote, because they don't know shit. They don't know what's going on, and all they do is come on here and gaslight and say stupid-ass things that make me laugh at them.
So in other words, because Trump is saying, and you're right, I've told the last caller the same thing, that the reason we actually import oil is because of the difficulty in refining it. I don't know if she heard that or not, but...
Yeah. And you don't need to take our word for it. The CEO of ExxonMobil was on TV saying it. So I guess they won't believe the guy who's actually running the businesses either, right? Even though CEOs are gods to these people. They won't believe him either.
So what about this Alvin Bragg case in New York? Trump is saying 95% of the jurors are Democrats. The judge has it in for him. It's all rigged. He can't get a fair shake. What say you?
Where's his proof that they're all Democrats? I need to see. See, I just don't believe what people say, right? I need proof to back it up. So if Trump has something that shows that these people are registered as Democrats, show me. Otherwise, you're just lying again like you always do, my dude. And, he says these things to get his base riled up because they're morons and they'll believe him and they'll start repeating it, right? Just like they always do. Oh, they're all Democrats. They're all Democrats. Meanwhile, the judge in Florida is obviously a Republican, right? Because she's doing just about everything she can to stop the fucking case from even happening, which is why you tell me, oh, the system's rigged against Trump. Yeah, it's rigged in his favor. You jackasses, right? Because no other human being on earth would be able to steal classified documents and then have a judge just outright blatantly delaying the shit out of their case and trying to make it go away completely. This is why you can't believe a fucking thing MAGA tells you. They come on here and say dumb shit all day.
74 million people, Moo. You think they're all that way? Come on now. You can't hate that.
I think so. That's nothing, dude. There's 300 million people in America. 1 out of every 3 people is completely fucking stupid. That adds up to me.
Now, wait a minute. Biden got 80 million? First of all, everybody in the country don't vote. Out of 300 million people, we're not even all old enough to vote. Some people are felons and they can't vote. But there's about half of us that are voting. I mean, Biden got a few more million than Trump, but there is a lot of Americans that voted for Trump. You don't think they're all stupid, do you?
I think that, bro, I don't need to think so. They come on here every day and prove me right. Look at your last caller, my dude. Look at all the dumb, stupid things she said. I have a degree in criminal justice. My ass, you have a degree in criminal justice. You probably paid for that from play school. Play school, my first criminal justice degree.
Oh, my God, boo. You don't, come on now. Don't be so hard on my people. She may actually have a degree. She has a different...
She was a dumbass, bro. Almost as bad as DJ Julio, my dude. Almost as bad.
Oh, my God. Okay, you're upsetting the folks, man. You're upsetting the audience, but you know how it is, Moo. All right, fair enough. I do got to move it on. Let me ask you before I let you go, though. How do you think this case is going to turn out?
I mean, so usually when the jury deliberates for long periods of time, the person gets found innocent. If it's quick, they're usually found guilty. Really, it just depends on how long the jury is going to deliberate. That'll give you a good idea of what's going to happen. I mean, I think the dude is guilty as sin, right? Well, Michael Cohen already went to jail for charges having to do with this. But, Trump seems to skate on anything that comes his way. So would I be surprised if he gets acquitted? No, I won't be surprised. I
had somebody tell me something that has stuck with me. It's probably been about a year. One of my guests on the show stated that Trump will never be found guilty on any of these cases because there will always be at least one MAGA on every jury. What do you think?
I mean, again, I would need to see the credentials of that person. I would need to see their voter registration. I just don't go saying shit like that. Right? Even if you're in a very red district or in a very blue district, right? There's Republicans and Democrats in all of those districts. And that's just something so that you can stir your base up and make them say stupid things and have them come on TikTok lives and make fools out of themselves, right?
Ooh, you push hard. So if he's convicted, if on the rare chance that he's convicted, any jail time, you think?
Yeah. Oh, no way, man. I mean, the judges won't even throw his ass in jail for a day on a gag order. You know what I mean? So I'm very disappointed in the criminal justice system, man. I really thought that they would hold Trump accountable because that was really the last institution keeping him in check. You know what I mean? All of our other institutions, when it came to Trump, failed spectacularly. He was able to undermine them, get rid of them, change them.
So what is the whole
the justice system, I thought, was going to hold fast.
So what is the purpose of all of this shit if he's not going to, even if he's convicted, nothing's going to happen? Why waste everybody's time and money?
Well, I wouldn't say that charging a criminal with their crimes is a waste of time. I don't think that's the case in any case. I mean, it's not just Trump, right? You charge criminals with their crimes. That's why we have a justice system. So you have to try, right? Because if you don't try to charge criminals with their crimes, then you pretty much have anarchy, right?
We don't want
anarchy at that point.
We don't want to. All right, Moo. I do appreciate it.
I just want to add real quick. Yeah. I just want to add real quick. Donald Trump just had a meeting at his house in Palm Beach, Florida, with a bunch of oil executives, and he asked them for $1 billion to aid his campaign. If you think that a man who's taking $1 billion from the oil companies is going to lower your gas prices, you're even fucking dumber than I thought.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. Appreciate it, Moo. Come on back anytime. You know how we do.
Have a good one.
And I will say this. I know a hell of a lot of my beloved MAGA have no tolerance for Moo at all. We're going to get a lot of MAGA on the program as well. When I say we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon, damn it, we mean it. But he does raise an interesting point. If Trump is having private meetings with oil execs and getting that type of money, why would you think gas prices are going to fall? That if they give him $1 billion, you think they're going to give you a discount too? That is a legitimate question to have. Damn it, I never thought of that. Otherwise, we probably have a live on that. That does make a lot of sense. I want to hear from you folks though, but that does make a lot of sense. Why would they give him all of this money so that he can become president and lower their prices, lower their profits? That's a really good question asked on that. And I see in the comments, Wall says vote for Moo. It's a good point he made. That's a really good point. I'd love to see the other side of that. Trump is having private meetings with Taylor Swift. Okay, I just made that up, says no, but he is having meetings with the oil execs. I believe you can actually fact check that pretty damn easy. That was pretty easy to fact check. It's because they want to reopen the drilling rights in the United States. That's why they're giving him money. That ain't what I'm asking you though. Why do you think they would give him a ton of money and then lower gas prices? I mean, we all know electric alternative energy vehicles is coming. Even if Trump gets another term, that is the future in this country. I'm not saying gas cars are going to go away, but they're going to have to share the road with a lot of electric powered vehicles. So the day and age where American drivers are using less fossil fuels and other alternative energy sources, that's coming. So what would be the goal to drill more in the United States while lowering prices? This is the time you should be making as much money as you can. It's a good question he asked. That's a really good question. Going back to the box, appreciate those that are tapping the screen. 900 plus of you in here. Get me on up to around 40,000. Certainly on the likes and on TikTok, feel free to smash that like button. I believe it's the 3 dots at the top of your screen. Get the program moving. We'll go straight to Brock. Good afternoon, Brock. Welcome to the program. Trump saying that the trial is rigged without even a verdict being present. Brock, good afternoon.
How you doing, handsome liberal?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on, man. So what do you think? Is the world rigged against Trump?
I think when it's all Democratic prosecutors that are against Trump, yeah, there's something going on. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any Republican prosecution that is going after Trump at all. It's all liberal, all Democrat. The thing I'd like to say about the gasoline prices with the big oil companies, that's a quid pro quo. I think that's a joke that the left is putting on. There's no way he could do that and get away with it. And you know how Trump loves to strong arm people. I mean, there's pictures of him at a G20 summit or wherever he was when he walked by the king of Saudi Arabia. And in Saudi Arabia, to touch the king is an automatic death sentence without his permission. And Trump brushed right up against him like he was nothing.
I remember seeing that. I saw that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. The suggestion that he is trying to solicit a large sum of money from oil execs. Do you believe that's true or false?
I think it's 1,000% false. That's a quid pro quo. It would be brought there'd be so many people to jump on that. It's crazy to even think about.
That actually is happening. You said if he went and solicited money from the oil execs, a bunch of people would jump on it. That's exactly what they're doing. It's all over the news.
No. I mean, they would jump all over to prosecute it, or if he was to become president, at least impeach him for the quid pro quo, just like they did with the Ukraine thing. Well, no, Mr. President, you have to send them aid, or it's considered a quid pro quo. You know, if he doesn't bring charges, if they don't bring charges against Hunter Biden, I'm sure you remember that.
Yeah, but I don't get what you're saying. I mean, if a corporation or a group of corporations that deal with the same product or good or service gives a bunch of money to a politician, that's kind of politics. There's no crime being committed if the oil execs give Trump a large campaign donation. That happens all the time.
I don't believe for 1 second Trump would. You know, he may have said it as a joke. You know, like he said that he was going to be he was going to be, when he said that
a dictator.
A dictator. He said he was going to be a dictator. If you look at every soundbite, they cut him off right as he said that he was going to be a dictator. They don't go any farther than that. I believe there's more to the story than
wait a
just,
minute.
you know, give me $1 billion.
Brock, I watched it live on Sean Hannity, who said he's going to be a dictator from day one, and Sean Hannity tried to help him correct it and draw it back, and he kept pushing on it. It wasn't cut off. That's a pretty easy interview to find.
I disagree with you. I don't think Sean Hannity walked anything back. He said on day one, I will be, when it comes to the border and when it comes to drilling. That's it. He didn't say anything else about being a dictator when it came to anything else.
And you said he was just joking.
1,000%. I don't think he was joking about the border or drilling, but being a dictator for his whole term was a joke. Yeah.
So then I have to
And
ask you, if he was joking about his dictator comment, which he made in front of Sean Hannity in a live studio audience, why didn't anyone laugh? No one laughed when he said that.
Trump was smiling when he said it.
He's laughing at his own jokes?
No, he smiled at it.
But what I'm asking you is,
Sean, I would be.
But what I'm asking you is, if it was meant to be a joke, why didn't anyone laugh?
Well, you don't laugh at Donald Trump, number one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why nobody laughed. I laughed when I seen it, and then when I seen the sound bites from all the CNNs and the MSNBCs and the View especially, he was going to be a dictator. That was hysterical. I mean, it was comical.
Yeah.
Because you know as well as I do that they ate that up. Look, why would you want to nominate or vote for a dictator who claimed he's going to be a dictator from day one? From day one, not for just one day, but from day one. And then let me bring up one more thing that Moo the Cow said about.
Okay, go ahead.
Listen, about these classified documents. Doesn't he remember all the years and years and years worth of classified documents that were found in the trunk of Joe Biden's Corvette in his garage?
It was found in his garage next to his Corvette. I don't know about in the Corvette.
Yeah, I know. I was joking. I said, let's just throw them all in the trunk. Let Hunter drive him around, the Corvette around to meet his Chinese buddies, you know, or his Russian buddies or Ukrainian buddies or whatever. But the prosecutor in that case, who happened to be a Democrat, said, he's just an old man. You know, he doesn't know any better. We're not going to bring charges.
Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. Hang on a second. Wait, hold on. Hang on. I'll let you continue. But you stated the prosecutor in that case happened to be a Democrat. You're talking about the guy who said that he would go after Trump, he would go after Biden rather, but Biden is an old man. That guy's a Trump appointee. That guy got his job because Trump gave it to him. He's not a Democrat.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right about that. I misspoke, but you are right.
Okay.
But for Moo to say, yeah, if Biden did something wrong, then yeah, throw him under the jail. I mean, why isn't it equal treatment for Biden that it is for Trump? They're charging Trump with what they could have charged Biden with. but they're not going after Biden. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
What about obstruction of justice? What about obstruction of justice? They claim they asked Trump for the documents back peacefully. Remember, he should have told the documents to go peacefully. Instead, he fought not to give them back. They're charging him with obstruction of justice.
As I recall, there were hundreds of boxes, and I forget what the name of the people are that handles the move from the White House back to the private residency, but they moved hundreds and hundreds of boxes, and they scattered them all over Mar-a-Lago. I mean, I don't think Trump even knew what he had. I don't think he went through all the classified documents and said, oh, hide these and put these out and give these away. And you know, I don't see Trump doing that. I really don't.
So why do you think his own lawyer testified that she told Trump, if you don't give these documents back, that's a crime? His own lawyer told him that he needed to cooperate and give the documents back, otherwise he would be committing a crime. You think his lawyer is making that up?
No, and I think he did give the documents back, did he not?
Not according to his own lawyer, he didn't.
I'm pretty sure he gave all the documents back. He's still being charged with holding on to classified documents, but I don't believe he has any in his possession right now.
Well, they went to his house and took them, so no, he does not. I mean, what about the claim from Kid Rock, who is clearly a right-leaning entertainer? Kid Rock was on tape saying, asking, should I be looking at the shit you're showing me? You think Kid Rock is just talking out of his ass?
Oh, yeah, Kid Rock. Oh, my God, come on. Kid Rock's hilarious. I think that was all a joke, too. I mean, some of this stuff you can't take at face value. I mean, you really can't. I've seen some interviews with Kid Rock where he said some pretty outrageous things, and if you believed everything Kid Rock said, then you probably need to have your head examined. And don't get me wrong, I love Kid Rock, but yeah, I don't believe everything that he said. And I think that was probably an inside joke between them, you know.
Why all the comedy about so many sensitive topics that a large portion of America does not find funny? Why are they making jokes about this stuff?
I think 88 indictments against a former sitting president is a joke. I think it's the laughing stock of the world we are right now. And I know that the right has nothing to do with that. It's the left. And so... You know,
I agree with you on that.
I appreciate your left and right letting people talk from both sides. That's really cool of you. I've been on other programs where they'll shut me down or shut off the mic or just completely throw me out of the box. And you haven't done that, so
listen, we don't have to agree on a damn thing. You'll never be talked down to. You'll never have your speech or your opinion limited here. I always appreciate the folks coming on with dissenting opinions, you included. Come on back anytime, man. I got to move it on, but Brock, come on back anytime.
I appreciate it. Let me just say one more thing.
Sure.
I don't believe that Donald Trump would take $1 billion from the oil companies. That is just absurd. You know as well as I do that's a quid pro quo. It's all over the news. There's no way that he could possibly do that and get away with it. No way. No way is that happening. That's coming from a hard right winger me. So
all right. Appreciate you coming through. Go ahead.
Thank you, handsome liberal.
Anytime. And I will follow up by saying this. Listen, I view a politician as a politician, and I don't exclude Trump from being a politician. I mean, he's already served 4 years in the White House. I don't think many politicians turn down money. $1 billion? Really? Now, listen, I'm not here we can bash Trump or defend Trump in future debates. I'm just simply talking about in regards to saying yes or no to $1 billion fucking dollars. I don't think any politician will turn down $1 billion. Now, my last guest pointed out it might be criminal to do so. I disagree, but even if it's criminal to accept $1 billion, I'm going to try to push the law as far as I can push it if $1 billion is on the table. That's a lot of fucking money. The idea that a politician, I can't take that. By the way, Trump has raised a lot less money than Biden. Some of that is because of Trump's legal fees coming out of his campaign funds. A lot of folks who are donating to the Republican campaign is actually that money's being used to pay Trump's endless legal fees. So Biden is way ahead of the Trump administration on campaign funds raised. You gonna turn down $1 billion? Look, I'm not here to say yay or nay, but I'm going to guess that the average politician would take that money, would try to find some way of accepting that money. I don't believe that most politicians, and I'm not saying that Trump is some kind of special guy where he won't do, or he is above doing what other politicians will do. I mean, the Secret Service had to tell Trump about the emoluments clause because he was accepting money from dignitaries and sheiks, folks coming to this country, sheiks and all of them, to stay at his properties and use his golf courses and charging them a premium. They had to tell him that's inappropriate. You can't have somebody from Saudi Arabia that you're talking about deals and legislation with staying at your casinos and hotels while you're president running the country and making a fortune off of them. That is quid pro quo. So he's already shown a propensity to do it. $1 billion? I'm with my last caller. The liberals are going to make up things about Trump to hurt him any way they can. That's politics. Trump is going to do the same to the liberals. I'm with him on that. But the idea that Trump is above taking $1 billion, there's no way I'm going to view Trump, Cruz, Biden, you name it, the Clintons, they're all going to take that money. I don't think Trump is that great. Looking in the comments, though, MAGA, Trump, liberalism, make Trump liberalism. I don't know what you're trying to say there, sir, but I do appreciate the U.S. flags. My question are that if they do mass deportation, who's going to pay for this? David Edwards, you're suggesting that if Trump gets elected, and actually, we'll go back to the box after I finish this question. By the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 50,000. We still got nearly 900 of you in here. This is an uncensored program, all day, every day. In regards to the question, if Trump is reelected and he does follow through with what he's promised, in the largest mass deportation in U.S. history, he's asking the question, well, who's going to pay for it? MAGA would happily pay for that. Just like when we talk about the war on drugs, all of a sudden you're housing all of these folks. A lot of them were minorities doing that. People didn't have a problem building new prisons and putting all these folks in jail and taking care of them for years, giving them meals and 3 hots in a cot for the next 20 years. People were totally fine with that. I think people would have no problem spending whatever is necessary to deport those folks. Just like they didn't have any problem with the war on drugs. Now, I am going to state, and I know a lot of folks may have an issue with what I'm about to say here, but particularly my beloved MAGA. Hate has a lot to do with it. There is some hatred towards immigrants, illegal immigrants, legal immigrants, you name it. There is some folks that don't like them. And I'm not talking about just the ones that come here illegally. I'm talking about the ones that came here legally as well. There are people that don't like them. So if they end up in jail, and by the way, the idea that they're all raping and murdering people, oh, hell yeah. They'll pay whatever it takes to get them out of the country. Most of them are rapists and murderers anyway, if you ask Trump. So yeah, I don't think there'll be an issue with where the money's coming from. Going back to the box, thank you folks for tapping the screen. We'll continue on with, I don't know, what am I looking at here? Users 73. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Who's paying for this student loan relief? Says Tina. The taxpayers are paying for it. User, good afternoon. We'll give you a second. We'll move the program.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
You hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. So, yeah. So is the system rigged against President Trump, as he often says?
Well, I'm 100% MAGA, just to let you know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Retirement law enforcement. I've sat through many, many trials. I think it's a little bit rigged on this current case we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I got a problem with the judge. He's not letting Trump's defense lawyer get his evidence presented without it being suppressed. That's a huge issue right there.
Right. So let me ask you this now let's contrast the judge in the Alvin Bragg case where Trump and many of his supporters believe that's totally rigged against him with the judge down in Miami, Florida, who is ruling in favor of Trump almost every time a ruling comes down. Do you think that judge down there in Miami pushing Jack Smith completely out of the way, helping delay the trial, denying his gag order, do you think that judge down there in Miami is fair?
I haven't been following that one yet. I'm just focused right now on the ongoing trial in New York.
Mm-hmm. All right, fair enough. Well, I would invite you to do it because I'll tell you this. If Trump is not complaining about somebody dealing with him being unfair or corrupt, it's pretty likely they're doing things in his favor. You're not hearing him say anything at all negative about that judge down there. He's saying things negative about all the other judges. That should tell you something. Nothing negative at all is coming out about this person. And he appointed her. Because remember, we're saying the Democratic judges are out to get Trump. The judge in Miami, he personally gave the job to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's a chance that what's going on down in Miami might actually be pro-Trump?
Possibility,
No.
but who knows?
All right.
There's just a lot of controversy right now.
So
On both sides.
So in regards to the live stream, you see it's titled, "It's All Rigged." Trump has claimed a lot of things are rigged. He claimed that when Ted Cruz was leading him for the Republican nomination back in 2015, that even Ted Cruz was stealing votes. When Fetterman was leading Dr. Oz in the Pennsylvania Senate race, he claimed that Fetterman was stealing votes. Now, Dr. Oz corrected him and said that's not true. He also has said, we know the 2020 election was rigged and stolen from him. He said that in North Carolina, for a time, Biden was winning up to that 2020 election. Trump ultimately won North Carolina, but it was in Biden's favor in the polls for a while. Trump said in North Carolina that election was rigged. Once he won, he stopped saying it. And then, of course, now he's saying 95% of the 95% of the jury in New York is Democrats, stating that in that case, the jurors are even rigged against him. Is he getting all that right?
I don't know about the jurors. That's anybody's guess, but for sure, I would have to say the judge is biased. I mean, there's no doubt
but
about it.
why would he say the jurors are rigged? What is that something? Is that wrong for him to do that? They haven't ruled. Maybe they actually do see things your way and come back and say, look, this is a bullshit trial. We're going to find the guy not guilty. But he's already called us rigged. Is he wrong for doing that?
Well, unless he knows something we don't, I have no clue.
Should he show some evidence?
He's under a gag order.
Well,
That's
but
another problem.
What about all the other things I talked about? Ted Cruz was stealing votes. Fetterman was stealing votes. North Carolina. I mean, should he show evidence of some of this stuff?
Well, the evidence has been proven in Georgia. I do know that much.
Proven how?
There's 380,000 ballots that are unaccounted for. There's no, what they call it, the ID for.
Yeah, but why do you assume that those votes where there's no ID counted for are all automatically Democratic votes? You don't know that.
I don't think it's said either way.
Right. So when you say there's cheating or Trump won these areas and we point out to election improprieties, why do we automatically assume that the improprieties are in favor of Democrats? Maybe those votes voting without ID are Republicans that figured out the system is open and you could cheat. How do we know?
Well, apparently some Democrats have figured that out. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is it impossible that maybe some Republicans could have figured it out too?
Nothing's impossible, man.
Right. So why are we assuming that Trump won Georgia? Where's the evidence?
Yeah, well, that's ongoing, right?
That ain't he is saying it happened now. He's not saying it's ongoing. He's not saying I'm looking into it. He said it happened. Where's the evidence?
Well, I thought they was investigating that and there was some evidence found.
Why are you investigating something you said happened? If you know it happened, Why are you still looking into it? Show us what you got. Is that too much to ask?
I'm not the one investigating it, so I can't speak for
But
that.
that's what I'm asking. He told us 3 years ago the election in Georgia was stolen from him. You're telling me in 2024 they're still investigating it. What made you say it in 2021? Show us what, or 2020. Show us what you got from 2020 to make you say that. We're 3 years out and he still is not able to show that. You're coming back with, well, we're still investigating it, which leads me to believe when you said it in 2020, you didn't really have any proof of it.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Now you are law enforcement, you said, right? Or retired, or yeah.
Yes.
Would you make an arrest based on what Trump is doing with this level of evidence we've seen so far?
Under which charge?
The charge that the election was stolen. If I told you someone stole something from me and I presented about as much proof as Trump has presented, would you make an arrest based on that?
I haven't seen all the evidence yet, so I know.
So you would not make an arrest. And we're 4 years out.
No.
Right. So even you're admitting, as MAGA, as law enforcement, he hasn't proved what he's saying. Correct?
I guess you're right.
You don't have to guess. You can give me your opinion. Don't let me feed you.
Let me get an opinion of yours.
Sure.
Back when Trump was president,
Yeah.
was your life that miserable? Compare it to your life right now under Biden.
Right.
And the way this economy, not just the economy, our society as a whole. How is there a stark difference to you between Biden and what it was under Trump?
You really gotta, I suppose, and that's a good question. I would say you gotta go year for year. I mean, when Trump left office, we were dealing with a pandemic. People were dying all over the damn place. That's not happening now. When Trump was in office, we had what they call the summer of love. Black Lives Matter rioting all over the place, complaining that the police are mistreated. That's not happening right now. So that, to me, the chaos under the Trump administration. Now we can buy gas for cheaper under Trump, but towns are not being burned down now. That was happening under Trump. You know, so the Capitol building seems to be doing all right now. It wasn't under Trump. So, you know, do we ignore that stuff?
I kind of disagree. You know, I think life was really good under Trump compared to right now. Everything's going downhill, man. Look at it. The economy's the worst it's ever been. Inflation's the worst it's been in 50 years. You know.
But what about the fact that salaries have gone up significantly? You got burger flippers now making $20 an hour. They weren't making that under Trump. Do we ignore that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's in certain states, you know.
Yeah, liberal states. Yeah, liberal states. You're right. It's happening in liberal areas.
I mean, I don't. It is what it is, you man. I mean, they're gonna pay you what they're gonna pay you, but you know.
But why is that? Why is the salaries going up in liberal areas but not in Republican areas?
No idea.
Well, it might have something to do with the fact that the Republicans are really staunch critics of raising the minimum wage. Most of the Republican states, particularly in the Bible Belt areas, they haven't seen a minimum wage, some of them in 20 plus years.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm talking about the economy in a whole, across the board.
Is getting a salary increase good for your own personal economy?
For my personal, no.
So if you got paid more, Trump got in office and all of a sudden you got a 10-20% increase in salary, that wouldn't be good for your own personal economy?
It would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the past. I'm talking about the present right now.
Right. Right now, a lot of folks can say they get paid a lot more under Biden than they did under Trump.
Yeah. I don't see it.
I just told you. Some burger flippers are not making $20 an hour. They were making like 12 under Trump, maybe even less in some of those Republican states.
Yeah. But that's a few. That's not the majority of what people are making.
Well, but understand, when it comes to wages, if you raise the minimum wage is like a foundation on a home. If you're at the bottom of the foundation and they raise your wage, the person on the second floor will notice that they're higher up as well. The whole house goes up. So when you raise minimum wage, everybody makes more. The Republicans are against raising minimum wage.
Okay, then how does that affect the overall economy?
People get paid less. They're noticing because let's be clear, even if you get Trump in office, the price of goods and services is not going to freeze. Let's say Trump was in office for 8 years. Let's say he won a second term. You think things are going to cost the exact same they did back in 2020 when he finishes his term in 2028? You don't think inflation is going to happen?
Not to the extreme it is now. I mean, I know things,
Yeah, but let's say it doesn't
goes up. I mean, it has. I mean, it does that every year.
Right.
That and inflation is two different things.
But let's take what you said. Let's say under Trump, the price of goods and services don't go up extreme like they did under Biden, but they go up just a little bit. If minimum wage is not moving at all, like it is in the southern states, I'm talking a 0%, not one single cent for 20 years in some states. You don't think the people are making less down there every year, even if even if inflation only increases by a minuscule amount, they're getting a 0-cent raise year after year after year for a generation. You don't think that's hurting people?
Well, that's the new cost of living.
Tell me how giving me a 0% raise for 20 straight years helps out in the cost of living.
Most folks get it somewhat. Hopefully they get something of a raise. I mean, Lord,
My caller may have had a call. We'll give him a second. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
What were you saying? Complete your thought.
I got something, even as a law enforcement officer, I got a little something every maybe 2 to 3 years, something. If it be 2%, 3%, what have you.
Right. But what I'm saying is if you don't raise the minimum wage for year after year after year, you don't think that hurts working Americans at all?
Well, sure it does. Yeah, you got to get, cost of living raises.
Right. So in Republican states where they're continuing to fight against the minimum wage increase, even now, by the way, they're still fighting against it. Do you think that they're hurting American workers? And by the way, Trump is not a fan of raising it either. He hasn't talked about raising it.
Well, it hurts a little bit, yeah. But what about Biden's inflation, man? What about that?
Well, in regards to inflation, we can discuss that. The price of goods and services going up under Biden. A lot of folks are claiming that it's price gouging. You think they're making that up?
I don't buy into the price gouging thing, man, because when the cost of shipping goes up due to the price of gas being brought up, everything goes up. And that cost is going to get passed on to the consumer regardless.
Yeah. So you don't think price gouging is happening at all?
Maybe a little bit by someone, but not overall, not across the board, no.
Okay. So even if it's happening to a little degree, do you think Trump would do something about that?
He would certainly, I hope, try.
What could he do?
He could pass laws.
You want him to use the power of the federal government to determine how much people can charge for their goods and services? Isn't that big government overreach?
Well, isn't that something that I just heard about what they were talking about in Congress? Republicans keep trying to suppress price gouging for gas. Wasn't that something, or did I just dream that up?
Republicans are trying to suppress. I have not heard that. Because like I said, Republicans tend to be for small government. They're not a big fan of telling corporations how much they can charge for goods and services. So if you're telling me the Republicans are trying to stop the gas companies or the refineries or the big oil from charging, that don't sound like what they normally run on.
No, I'm saying there was something going around I heard the other day about Democrats were trying to pass a law saying no more price gouging on gas, and they were complaining and bitching about Republicans wasn't going to vote for it or shot it down.
Yeah, that's typically what anytime the Democrats try to tell big business what they can and cannot do, whether it's unions, whether it's a minimum wage increase, whether it's providing health care to your employers, the Republicans do shoot it down. That's kind of what happens. Otherwise, you would have all of that stuff if you left it up to the Democrats.
Okay, well, then what good is capitalism?
Capitalism works for the haves. It does not work for the have-nots. And the more you have, the more you can tailor the laws to help your wealth grow. And it's generally at the expense of the have-nots. That's what has been happening in this country. The minimum wage stagnation is a perfect example. The haves who own the businesses don't want to be forced to pay you more. So they've been able to lobby to the right politicians, use their money, and they've kept it that way for 20 years. The result? The have-nots are getting further and further away from the haves. Even you admit it. Not increasing the minimum wage for 20 years is hurting working Americans.
To a degree, yes it is.
Yeah, and they still haven't raised it. Right now, it's up to you to pick the right job where your employer is nice enough to give you a decent wage. But the laws in the South say they don't have to. If they want to be nice and hire you at $15 an hour, they can do it. But if they only want to pay $7.50, they can do that too. And we know nobody can live off of $7.50 an hour.
Yeah, I'm just reading these comments right now, laughing at all this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
hey, Liberal, I appreciate you, man. Just one quick question. I got to go pick up kids. What's up with the Make America Great hat? I love it. Why you got the hat?
Oh, I get that. I get asked that all the time. Fact is, I strongly believe that Republicans, conservatives, and particularly MAGA do not get a fair shake in the media. Even though I lean left, the purpose of the hat is to show MAGA like a light in a dark night. You're welcome here. You'll always be able to speak. Nobody's going to critique your opinion. That's the purpose of the hat. It's a MAGA-friendly program. I used to say that all the time. The program is and well, I do still say that. Program is and always will be MAGA-friendly. That's why the hat is there.
Right on, brother. I appreciate you. I ain't gonna say you're pretty liberal, but you are liberal. I like you, man.
Pick up your kids. Come on back anytime. Appreciate
brother,
it.
thank you.
Anytime. All right, moving the program on. Tim, you're neutral, says Bobby Covina. Well, I have actual politics. My whole spiel on the minimum wage increase is a clear example of that. I do have politics, but I do believe in letting everyone speak. I don't believe in censorship, and I don't believe censoring people helps move anything along. Looking in the comments, minimum wage being raised only helps the tax man. So you leave it the same for 20 years. I, giving my own personal example before I go back to the box, and by the way, tap the screen, get me on up to around 70,000 likes. I know I'm being a bit liberal here on that, but you can make it happen if you let your thumbs and I be lazy on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button as well. Get me on up to 50. Certainly could have that happen. Raising the minimum wage, helping the tax man, or some would say if you raise the minimum wage, it makes the price of goods and services go up. As I pointed out, minimum wage has not been increased in the southern states for at least 20 years. You got minimum wage in some of those states down south that were that same way when the World Trade Center was still standing. Hasn't moved at all since the World Trade Centers came down. You're telling me the price of goods and services has not went up in those states? The point I'm trying to make is this. The price of goods and services is going to go up whether they pay you more or not. Don't ever let somebody convince you that you're better off being paid less. To me, that is a crazy argument. I would rather you pay me more, increase the price of every damn thing around me, because I at least get to determine whether I want to buy it or not. There is never a legitimate reason, in my opinion, for me to say, yeah, pay me less, I'm better off. I think it's crazy. But folks say that. If you raise the minimum wage, it'll hurt this, it'll hurt that. You're actually really benefiting the haves at the expense of the have-nots by saying that, because the haves are the ones that agree with you, because they're going to make less. You think the owner of those companies that don't want to raise the minimum wage, you think they're making the same for the next 20 years? You think they're getting the same pay? I really think that is insane. But I also chalk that up when folks say, well, why would anybody vote Republican? I get my liberal friends all the time. There's no reason. Yeah, there are legitimate reasons to vote Republican. That's one of them. If you own a business, small business, big business, and you don't want to be forced to pay your employees a wage increase, decent, you should vote Republican. They don't agree with that either. They're totally fine with keeping it that way for 20 years. There's no big push by Republicans to raise the minimum wage. If you don't want to pay any more than $7-8 an hour to your employees, you should vote Republican. That's a legitimate reason to vote Republican. Looking in the comments though, MAGA is not concerned with pay. They are motivated by fear and hate. Damn, Duke 38. I can't totally dismiss that. I can't totally, because the immigrant thing, there's certainly an ample amount of fear and hate in that. I mean, they're all rapists and murderers. Hell, I would fear them if I believed that. 10 million people coming in this country and they're all looking to rape and murder people. That's a reason to be scared shitless. In MAGA, well, not MAGA, but Trump himself is promoting that. So there is some of that in there. Looking in the comments, fear, greed, and hate lead to the dark side. There is historical evidence to that. C says, I don't know of anyone who is making minimum wage. Texas, the people here illegally are making too. No, but the point is, if you don't raise minimum wage, they can always go back to that, because that is the minimum they have to pay. They're paying more because maybe the free market currently in Texas doesn't lead them with the ability to hire people. But if things get bad, they can actually go back to paying $7 an hour. Because just like in Arizona, remember once abortions were banned, they could use this law from the 1800s? Because they didn't change it. So the option to go back to this does exist. The option to go back and pay people $7, $7, $8, it does exist. You're actually leaving your earnings up to the mercy of the people that's hiring you. Because they legally can only give you 7, 8, whatever they can legally do that. You're just hoping they continue paying you more. In the liberal states, they don't have the option to go back to that shit. Looking in the comments, I live in Indiana with a $7.25 minimum wage, but most jobs pay more than that. Hence my last statement. Indiana can go back to paying $7.25 at any time, because that is still the law. At any time, they can go back to paying that. There should be no reason at all in any American state where a company can hire you and legally pay you that fucking low. What is that, like 50-some bucks a day? You can't do nothing with that. Can't do nothing with that other than tend to a house or some shit, or maybe live in a vehicle. Going back to the box, thank you folks that are tapping the screen. We should be around 70,000. Appreciate that. Show the program some love. Help get the likes up. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. Going back to the box, we will continue on with, I can't pronounce that. This is Ladora. Right, and see in the comments, somebody said before taxes. Yeah, $7.50 an hour before taxes. Yikes. Well, I'm assuming at the end of the year, you'll get all of your tax money back if you're getting paid that low. But it does, like I said, it does give them the ability to potentially go back to that in the future. Looks like the box is going to not come up. So we'll give it a moment. We'll reset and continue on. Jury in Trump hush money trial as judge for testimony from 2 witnesses. So they're not rushing to find him guilty, and they're not rushing to exonerate him. There's some folks that are, my guess is he'll probably be the beneficiary of a hung jury. Ladora, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Okay.
So Trump says that whole thing in New York, along with most of the things affecting him, is all rigged. Do you think all of this stuff is being rigged against Trump?
It's just as rigged as any other normal citizen, because let's remember, he calls himself President Trump, but he is a citizen just like you and I. He is not the president. So if you and I had that many indictments against us,
right,
we don't even have to worry about what the charges are. Let's just look at the counts. There's no person that still will be walking free on a bail with that type of indictments that owns an airplane. Let's just call a spade a spade. Then number two, just like they've said so many years, let the justice call the ruling. Remember, the scales of justice will abide whether it's true or not. Same apply to him. That did not change once he got indicted 90 times. That did not change.
But what about the notion that this stuff would not be happening if Trump wasn't running for president and it's all liberals going after him?
Let's just remind everybody, because see, everybody all of a sudden have either suffered from a severe case of amnesia or just saying, screw what the past facts are. The guy that was it the House representative? I cannot remember his name. But when Trump was the president and they were trying to bring charges on him, then he was the one that was actually supposed to press the charges.
You talking about Mitch McConnell telling the folks? Yeah, but during the impeachment, for folks who are wondering, during the impeachment, Mitch McConnell, who blocked Trump's impeachment for January 6th, said, do what they're doing now. Like, you can go after him as a citizen in criminal court, but impeaching him is the wrong thing to do. And now they're going after him criminally, and they said they have a problem with it.
They are doing what their Republican constituents told them to do.
Yeah.
And they are doing the jobs that we as citizens pay them to do.
Well, let me just say this for Mitch.
Remember, the court systems are paid by federal and state funds. Who pays those funds?
Yeah, I mean, I get you. Yeah, I get your point, but let me just say this. In regards to Mitch McConnell saying he's not going to, he didn't support the impeachment of Trump, saying you can do it when he becomes a citizen. He's the same one that suggested that they were not going to give Biden's Supreme Court justice a hearing because it was too close to the election. And then it was time for Trump to make a pick, and it was even closer to the election, he suddenly changed his tune. So I think Mitch McConnell is not a reliable source. He'll say what he got to say.
Wait a minute. But he only say what he got to say that's favorable for the Republican candidate.
Yeah, so I think that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you were to have done 90 criminal acts and got 90 indictments, tell me how, and you had a passport and or a helicopter, a scooter, a skateboard, any form of transportation that can get your in out of the state, they would have locked you down. You wouldn't even have the consideration of a bail.
So you're saying that Trump is actually he's actually dealing with a two-tier justice system, but is working in his favor.
Exactly. So let's just let this justice system that they have for so many years that has been fair to everybody else, let that same fair system try him. And then also, I just really want to point out, because I keep putting it in the chat box, that everyone keep on saying, oh, well, the gas prices and the cost of like food and all of that.
Goods and services, yeah.
Goods and services is out of order. Okay, let's just remind everyone, and those that didn't know, let me point you to Bill 7688 that was out, what that they put on the floor, I believe it was last year or in 2022. Every Republican
voted
that bill down. And it was the bill that they were putting out to reduce price gouging for gas as well as goods and services. So all of these people that seem to think that they don't have enough money to get gas, don't have enough money to get food, thank your Republican constituents. And all of these same very people that say, I don't have enough gas and the cost of eggs is $32. Remember that when you're buying all of your MAGA paraphernalia, your Trump paraphernalia, you're sending him all of your money to support his legal fees. That he turns around and tell you he's a billionaire, but you can't afford a $12 dozen of eggs, but you're going to send your donation funds to a billionaire. Make that make sense?
It's working. It's working.
Then, on the flip side of that, you're the same one to say, I have no gas, but you're chasing down every red light, stop sign, yield sign, speed bump, state line, from here in all 50 states to follow him, and half the time he have you out there in that 103-degree weather, and he don't show up to 3 hours late for his thing, and then tell you, oh, you're this and that. So stop the complaining.
But what does that say about Biden? That folks, as you say, will stand out in 100-degree weather, drive all across the country to follow Trump like he's the Grateful Dead, but Biden is holding virtually no rallies at all. Does that maybe make it clear that Trump is more favored than Biden?
Okay, let me remind y'all of something, because when we're falling back into that amnesia phase. Okay, here's the thing: until Trump went on trial, Trump was not campaigning. He's using these trials as his free campaigning. You done heard more from that man than we want to. And then let's also flip the fact: if Biden was in front of a camera every day, then we will hear about he's never doing any work. How could he possibly be doing any work? He's always in front of a camera. And then all of a sudden, everybody that want to list vice president's credentials of every job she's done every day, name one vice president prior to her that was in the camera.
Well, I'm going to say this in regards to your statement that Trump is always, in front of the camera and things like that. I've had a girl tell me once, don't hate the player, hate the game. Fact is, it works. It's working.
And wait a minute, and I'm not saying it don't, but you don't see too many Democrats complaining about him being in the camera, because we know he a crybaby. His whole entire 4 terms, he did nothing but Twitter all day long. All day long and all night. He stayed on Twitter, yeah, or whatever you call it.
And that kept him on the tip of our tongue, though. That's giving him publicity.
But the thing about it is, we don't.
My caller may have dropped or broken up. We'll give her a second. While we're seeing if she comes back. You there? Okay. Maybe she.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you finish your thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear you dropped out.
Okay. Okay, I was going to say.
You dropped out again.
I'm sorry. That's my son that keep calling, and my son that keep calling. Sorry. We don't care. We don't care.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. This is totally off subject, but I always entertain comments coming from folks in the comment section. This one is coming from YouTube. We're simultaneously on both platforms right now. On YouTube, T advice. You can take this any way you want. You can, we don't block, ban, or censor.
Right, go ahead.
This came from Mark. Mark says she's definitely the baby mama of Tyrone. What do you think they mean by that?
And if I'm the baby mama of Tyrone, he's the trailer park trash of the bullshit. Because at the end of the day, you cannot say, when it comes to facts, they love to call names, but ain't brought a fact yet. Just like they cannot state one thing that Trump planned on running for, other than the lies that he keeps telling. And when we ask them, show proof of what you're saying. Because, see, we don't care. If you can prove it, that's proof. Because, see, the bill that I gave, anybody can look it up.
Yeah. Well, let me respond. Let me talk about your bill, because Saint on YouTube looked it up according to him and says that bill only covered gas price gouging, but by individuals, not corporate entities. So in other words, you could, as an individual, you couldn't gouge on prices, but corporations could still do it. He says also, plus it didn't cover inflation of prices for goods and services. It targeted individuals, not inflation as a whole. That's
This is what Tyrone, the educated baby mama, going to tell you, that there's nobody out here in our Congress or House can control
yeah.
the prices that companies, landlords, anybody put on it. Because let me ask you, or any of these want to keep on saying, tell them to file a bill. Biden can do this. You own a home. You own 3 rental properties and 3 apartment buildings, right?
Right.
And you went through the same exact COVID that everybody went through when nobody was paying their bills. But you still have mortgages on those properties. And so once everybody came back and they decided to raise their rent to try to cover some of the money that they lost, how would you like it if somebody come and say, handsome, I know that your mortgage is $1,300 a month that you pay for this property, but because I'm going to tell you, you cannot rent your property for more than $700 a month. What would you, as the consumer that owned that property, want to say?
I wouldn't like it. That's why I stopped renting to Section 8 tenants, because I had a number of properties, and Section 8 does something very similar to that.
They cap you at the rent that you get paid.
Yeah.
But that does not change your inflation. That does not change your tax costs. That does not change if you have what they call them inflatable mortgages back in the day before Obama put that law in that they couldn't do those what they call those mortgages where they start off at $800.
Oh, you talking about arms, adjustable rate, or you talking about balloons? Were they balloons?
Those, yes. So those things are the reason why government have to keep their hands out of stuff. But also everybody talk about the gas is through the roof. Well, then send some things to OPEC, because OPEC sets the gas prices. That has nothing to do with Biden nor Trump when he was president, or any of the other presidents before him. They have nothing to do with gas prices, and that is OPEC. And that is something that you learn, as Tyrone said in the baby mama thing, when you were in elementary, middle school, as well as the early 9th grade government classes.
All right.
So clearly, he's the one that missed class.
All right, Ladora, as Erica Baidu once said, I think you better call Tyrone. Thank you for coming through, though. Appreciate it, Ladora.
This, handsome.
Real quick.
What part of anything that I said is not a fact check that you can find?
Well, I need to look up the bill you mentioned. Other than that, I think we're okay.
Okay, look up that bill.
All
and
right.
I promise you, I want you to look it up. Because I'll be watching you at night, too, when you go on there late at night, because I ain't seen you. And I want you to talk about that. Okay?
Fair enough.
Tell us what that bill got to offer, since none of them seem to know how to look up anything. And also give an educational class on how to use Google when you're looking it up. Thank you.
All right. Ouch. Ooh, sound like my ex in court. Shout out to her, Ladora. Appreciate you coming on the program. How does she feel about Biden? Well, considering how much she hammered Trump, I'm assuming she's going to vote for Biden. What about the pipelines that were stopped? I'm hearing that's not true. I'm hearing that Biden did not stop the pipeline. But it's been around since he became president. But I've heard that's not true. Looking in the comments, blood, BLUD is not handsome. Okay, shout out to the LGBT community, having a guy comment on the looks. I'm an ally of your community, sir. I didn't get shit of COVID money. Made too much, says Sandra. Well, you're fortunate you can continue working. A lot of folks could not work. And here's something I will say about that COVID money. Because folks go, well, people, after the pandemic, people didn't want to go back to work and things like that. My personal belief, obviously the stimulus checks happened when Trump was in office. The first ones did. My personal belief is this. You take the likes of Trump or even the likes of Nancy Pelosi, all very rich people. And during the pandemic, when people were not able to go to work as things closed down and people were starting to really hurt financially, a lot of these rich folks in Washington, including Trump, look, we got to make sure that folks can still eat, still have a roof over their head. Let's just give them a little something, throw them a bone to keep them going. Talking about the stimulus checks. What was it, $600 a week or something like that, $2,000 checks? They thought they were just throwing folks a bone. Couple G's, $600 a week. That'll get them by a little bit. It ain't much, but you're talking about millionaires. Talking about folks who are millionaires many times over. Trump claims he was worth $15 billion, so they got plenty of money. Nancy Pelosi's worth hundreds of millions too. So they giving folks on the lower end of the totem pole, give them a couple grand, $600 a week. That'll get all of a sudden, like feeding goldfish, where they all come up to the top and you got a bubbling surface. I think the issue is a lot of these rich fucks did not realize how little Americans make. They didn't dream of people not even wanting to go back to work because $600 was more than what a lot of people make per week. They got so much money, they don't know how bad people are doing at the bottom. But that money, why people won't go back to work? Because you're asking them to go back to work and make less than you're giving them. But they thought it was just a bone, just enough to keep people. A lot of these folks at the top don't realize how bad the average working man is doing. They damn sure don't understand it if they're trying to keep the minimum wage the same for 20 years. This is not even the tip. Not even the tip of what they would leave at Starbucks on some of the shit they buy. And you expect this person to work a whole hour for that. $7-8 an hour. So I do believe when they started handing out stimulus checks and were surprised that people were hesitant to go back to work, they didn't realize how little most Americans make. $600 a week probably puts you well into what a lot of American employees are actually earning. Once you take out the taxes and shit like that, $1,200 every 2 weeks. A lot of Americans, particularly in the Trump administration, salaries have went up somewhat now. 2016, 2020, when Trump was in office, $1,200 every 2 weeks was more than a lot of Americans' earnings during that time. That's what happens. That's the kind of shit that happened. They didn't realize that though. But look at it in the comments. The answer to what came first, the chicken or the egg. I'm gonna leave that alone because that's way off topic. What is the purpose to let Venezuelans to came to USA and they give permission to work when they don't? The grammar on this is bad. But I'll give it a shot. What is the purpose to let the Venezuelans to came to USA and they give permission to work when they don't do that with nobody else? They don't want to work. They just wanted the government to help them. I'm gonna sum that up by I'm interpreting that as Venezuelans are coming to the country to get free shit. They don't want to work. I don't subscribe to that. I do believe most immigrants coming to America are coming here to get jobs. I don't think the average immigrant is coming all the way here to get free shit. I just don't buy. Now, some of them are getting free shit. Some of them are getting, in liberal areas. In liberal areas, some of them are getting put up for a while. They're being able to stay in shelters, giving them an EBT card to buy some food. Some of them are getting that. But I don't believe, even under the Biden administration, most of the folks that are coming here are coming to get free shit. I just don't believe that. Call me dumb, but you can't call me a lie, says J Matt. All right. Going back to the box. Ooh, shit, I stepped on the gas there. Appreciate you folks that are holding on. We'll continue on with a friend of the program. And thank you, folks, for becoming friends of the program. I don't know what the process of that is, but it certainly makes you stand out when you're trying to get on the box. So thank you, folks. Certainly my subscribers. I don't have a lot of them, but they always get first dibs. I think it's like $4 a month or some shit. It ain't like it's a mint, but it certainly will make me notice you in the comments because they highlight that shit. And they recommend you take those folks. That's what TikTok does. So we absolutely believe in giving them a chance to speak. Super Dave. And it doesn't matter what party, what your politics are. We believe in letting everybody speak. Over 99% of the folks who watch the program daily do not support it in any way, fashion, or form. So we're going to give a little bit of accolade to the very few people that do. Super Dave, good afternoon.
How we doing today, my brother?
I'm doing good. So what do you think? Trump saying that the whole world is rigged against him, including this case in New York. What say you?
Well, let me ask you a question. You're in trial for a crime, and they're denying to allow you to have one of the top experts in the field of what's going on to testify on your behalf. That seems a little bit odd to me. Not to
Wait,
mention
experts in the field of what?
An election.
You dropped out. We'll give him a second. We'll give Super Dave a second to come back. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, what were you saying?
Brad Smith, the guy they denied to allow him to testify, is one of the leading election law people in the country.
Okay.
I mean, so if you're, there's some things. Listen, once again, we've talked about this before. I've voted both ways. I typically am an independent type of guy. I kind of go down the middle, right? But if you can watch this and not think that something stinks, then you either haven't done your homework or you don't care because you hate the man. And listen, I am not a rah-rah MAGA, go Trump, he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's not. But he did not do a bad job. How bad is this? I'm in an open house. I work construction. So is this echo?
I can hear you. I hear the echo, but you're fine. You're totally legible. Keep going.
So there's some things that stink, man. And the problem is, like I talked to you before, they've got people so fired up and so angry that people don't want to look up things. They don't want to use logic. They don't want to pay attention to what's really going behind the drawn curtain.
Let me interject. I hate to deflect that. Try to avoid doing it. When you say people are so fired up and energized, they don't want to look up things. The notion that 10 million illegals are coming here to rape and murder people, that's a perfect example of firing and energizing people. And if they looked it up, they would find out that's not true. So that's happening on both sides.
We're living in the campaign. I don't know if anybody that's listening right now has ever watched that movie, The Campaign. Okay, the movie The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis it's a crazy, outlandish comedy, but at the same time, if you watch it right now, goodness gracious, man, it just hits home, and you just go, you're laughing at this ridiculousness, and you go, but you know what? We're not far off.
Here's the issue I have, Super Day, is that a lot of things that Trump is stating that people are doing to him, he's done that stuff to others. I mean, like, for instance, he claimed that Ted Cruz was stealing votes from him. That's not true. Now, all of a sudden, people are saying things about him and he thinks it's not true, and it's suddenly wrong. He said that Dr. Oz was having votes stolen from him by Senator Fetterman. That wasn't true, and Dr. Oz came out and said it. So is it only wrong when it happens to him?
No. I mean, come on. Listen, in this current day and age, and once again, we got to remember who we're talking about here. He's gonna be. Well, look at me.
Your signal's breaking up. Wait a minute.
Apprentice for years and years and years.
Your signal's breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
You said we got to remember who we're talking about. What do you mean when you say we got to remember who we're talking about? What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, he's not the only one that does that, because they all do it, all of them. Biden does it too, and to say he doesn't is outlandish. But at the end of the day, we are dealing with a guy that made millions doing the Apprentice, and the show was one of the most watched shows on TV by these kind of things.
What does that got to do with this?
So the production, because it's the production value. It's the look at me. I'm telling you, watch it. Have you seen The Campaign?
No.
Please, because I mean, it's just.
I'll take a look at The Campaign, but I would invite you to also watch The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy.
I've seen distinguished gentlemen, and it's the same kind of along those lines.
Okay.
Where those things behind the scenes, some bitch, that's right, I know. When he gets it, it's great. I love it.
All right, but let me say this, because when I mentioned Trump saying everybody is you said they all do it, and you mentioned Biden. Didn't we elect Trump because he's not a typical politician? You're saying that he's doing all the same shit as the swamp.
No. I'm saying he's using some of the same tactics as the swamp.
Tactics that are wrong. Tactics that are lies.
Listen, I agree with you. It's why we should not allow private money into politics. It's why we should not allow that. Every politician should get a certain stipend. If people want to, donate to political campaigns, it should go into a big old kitty. It should be divvied up so everybody's spending the same amount of money. And then
wait. What does private money? If you ban private money, as you're suggesting, what does that have to do with him saying Ted Cruz is stealing votes or saying his dad killed President Kennedy? Where does private money come into that?
Well, I haven't heard any of those, but
it came out in the testimony. Even in the testimony, him working with the Inquirer, that guy named Pecker, that was part of that stuff. He was even when Trump, anytime Trump was going up against somebody, he was working through Michael Cohen to use. Go ahead.
I do a lot of research. I really, really want that. I posted a link on your thing about where Biden put the sanctions that stopped the Keystone Pipeline on there. So if you go back and scroll back, you'll see that I posted a link. I'd love for somebody to post a link and so I can look. Because listen, once again, I educate myself. I do research. I go back.
Well, okay, but speaking of research, I want you to research what I'm talking about. Trump was using the guy Pecker that testified at this trial that was with the National Enquirer. Any of Trump's competitors, it was being funneled through Michael Cohen. They were actually posting stories that were negative to all of Trump's competitors and making lies about him. Like I said, Ted Cruz's dad killing President Kennedy, they put that in the magazine, and then Trump was on his rallies bringing that up to go after Ted Cruz. They actually had a media publication working with the Trump campaign to post fake negative stories to hurt his adversaries. That's like the definition of fake news that Trump always complains about.
Hey, listen, at some point in time, you're not going to sit there and keep being the victim. And somebody, okay, perfect example. I don't know if you remember our last conversation, but I told you that I grew up where I was the minority. Yes, you can see from my picture, I'm a white man.
Okay.
Do you know that at some point I had a class with like 90-something kids in it. It was a chemistry class because everybody's got to take chemistry. And the kid kept popping me in the back of my head, kept asking the teacher to move me. We're not moving you. My mother came in, talked to somebody. They still refused to move me. One day I got up, I smacked the crap out of him and started walking around because it's one of those raised up things. So coming around, and they came in and got me because you're not going to just keep sitting there and taking it until you punch back the same way.
But here's what I don't understand, because you're saying that folks bash Trump so much that eventually he's going to stand up and defend himself. When he was...
Go back and watch the videos before...
Hang on a second.
Before he even was elected president.
But when he said that Ted Cruz's dad killed President Kennedy, he wasn't even a president yet. Where's all the... He was constantly being bashed and bashed. This was early on in his attempt to run for president. This is like 2015. There wasn't a lot of people bashing him back then. Ted Cruz wasn't doing all that to him. Why would he say his dad killed President Kennedy?
I don't know. Once again, I'm not educated on that, and I won't speak on that. So, but I will do my research, and I'll come back with you with something else next time we talk.
Okay. What about the notion that in the Dr. Oz Fetterman Senate race in Pennsylvania, he said that even in that race, Pennsylvania was stealing votes for Fetterman, and Dr. Oz, who he was endorsing, came out and said that ain't true. He was trying to say that election was being stolen.
And he's the first one that said elections were stolen?
No, he's saying he's the first one that says it in every election he's in. Every election he's in, he's saying that even when he wins, he's alleging there's always fraud. Why is he doing that?
I can't speak on why he does that. I mean, I will tell you this. I did also post a link on one of your most recent things that I didn't get on and talk, but I put a couple things on there where there's some things that still stink about that. And if you do some research, you're going to run across some things like the Italian intelligence agency come in here to America and go in before, I believe it was the Kansas state representatives talking about they've got some evidence, but nobody wants to hear it. And I'm not going to go there because we got to move on and move forward.
But I have to say, I have to point this out. When Trump points out election improprieties, it's all of this Democratic cheating. I ain't heard him say shit about all of the Republicans that have pled guilty to election interference. They went before court and played. Why isn't that coming up?
That's what I told you last time. They're all doing it. All of them. The Republicans, the Democrats. Lyndon B. Johnson had a nickname because of his cheating. I mean, you can go back. There's a nice video on YouTube talking about the history of
so
cheating.
What you're basically saying is Trump is no better than any of the other cheaters.
I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think they're all.
So when he say he won by a landslide, is it possible that statement is cheating in itself and he's lying about that? Is it possible?
Absolutely. Listen, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
So you do realize people gave their lives, even gave their freedom, gave up their lives talking about Ashley Babbitt. People died behind that, and you're admitting it's possible they died behind a lie.
Well, no, because I told you I've gone and done my research and my homework, and I'm not convinced that everything was on the up and up. And we can't go into that. I'm not getting shut down.
I didn't say you were convinced everything was on the up and up. I asked you, is it possible though? Is it possible that when he said he won by a landslide is not true? And you said, yeah, it's possible.
Well, it's possible that it's not true. Anything's possible when you look at what's going on, and then when you start doing a little research and digging into things, it's just funny. It's just like this. This lady on here keeps commenting that I'm lying about that link I posted. I guarantee you she didn't even press the damn link and go look at it.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it. I don't want to discuss the link yet because I haven't seen it. But Trump said he won by a landslide. Let me just ask you this: why the hell don't we have more proof of that? Why is there not more evidence that convinces?
Once again, because if we look into that, we're going to find out about everybody in their little nook and cranny that's cheating in their little places, and it's Republicans and Democrats both. I done told you, and everybody wants to sit here and point the finger, and all we're doing is fueling the fire and keeping these guys to keep doing this stuff undercover while we're sitting here fighting over Republicans.
Then if you're not, but Trump keeps saying it. He's at rallies even as recent as this weekend. He's still saying he won by. If we're not going to look into it as you point, then why the hell does he keep saying it? What is the purpose of saying something that you're never going to provide evidence for?
Because it fuels the fire, man. Then they all do it. It's just like they didn't really look into if there really was something wrong. Nobody really gave that any means. They just shut it down immediately, and it's okay. Listen, what's the world we're living in now? But people better wake up, man, because if we don't, listen, I watched you.
Hold on, hang on a second. Trump's own Attorney General Barr wrote a book called what did he say? One damn thing after another. That's his book. I own the book. He said he did look into it. Is he lying about that?
That Barr did?
Attorney General Barr, the guy that Trump promoted to America's top cop. He looked into Trump's claims. Is he lying?
You don't, what is he? He's a Republican. Right?
Yeah. Is he lying about it?
You don't think he would be in cahoots with some of these guys that he maybe knows? I mean, these guys all got, how come all these guys, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter who they are. They go in, they're supposed to be,
Where's he? I hear you.
Come out rich, and they're all coming out rich. And all you people that are saying that I am just going to vote for Trump anyway. No, I wouldn't. I would vote for a good, viable candidate. And Joe Biden ain't him. This dude is terrible.
I'm not promoting Joe Biden, but what I'm saying is if you're going to say Attorney General Barr is somehow corrupt, where is the proof? Is it wrong to ask you for proof? You're saying Attorney General Barr is a Republican. Can you give me solid proof, solid evidence?
Saying that I said he could be in. Nobody knows, and they're going to keep it under wraps. They got too much money behind it to keep it from ever getting out.
Can you show me proof that attorney? Wait, hold on, hang on.
All you got to do is look up the Italian age.
That ain't what I'm. That's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you. People who Trump appointed to their jobs, looked into the election and said he didn't win. All of them people are being bought out is what you're telling me. Where is the evidence?
You know, I got a feeling that in some years it's going to come out, just like it has in the past with some other people that used to cheat.
Why do you have that feeling?
Well, because it typically happens when those things come out. And I've just seen too much stuff. I've done too much research and actually looked into it and seen those things that make me go, okay, something does stink here. And I saw too many things live as they happened that stunk. So, I mean, it's okay. I don't want to go. I want to go forward. We
cannot go forward with Trump talking about this stuff at every rally. He's the one that keeps bringing it up.
Listen, once again, I've said, if I had a better, if you're telling me that my two options are Biden and Trump, for me, it's a no-brainer. I was on a thing. Listen, first of all, I watched that thing that you were on the other day when some name calling started going around with them 4 guys and everything else. Yeah. I want to commend you because you don't do that kind of crap to people. But I have been on some ones with some left-leaning people that they don't want to hear nothing. And if you start going against them, they shut you off, they ban you, they don't actually have a conversation so that we can't get to these points and have conversations of, you know, what's really
I've never been on a... Yeah, I've never been on a... I get your point. I've never been on a MAGA debate where I didn't get called some names. I'm used to it. I got thick skin. It is what it is. But
and once again, I'm getting called names on here if you go back and look at it, and it's okay because once again, you're not even listening to me because you know I voted both sides of the aisle. I go both ways. The problem is,
hold on, hang on a second. I don't want to ever hear a man say he goes both ways unless he's part of the community. Don't say that.
I'm saying I vote on both sides of the aisle based on the person and what they're promising me and what if I feel I can trust them or not.
I'm fine with all of that. If you think Biden sucks as a president, you have a legitimate reason to believe it. I think a lot of folks believe Trump is the same way. It depends on your politics. I don't have an issue with that. Where I have an issue is you got a lot of liberal Democratic improprieties that people point out for the 2020 election. You got a whole lot of Republicans pleading guilty to it. But for some reason, we're overlooking all of the Republicans and continuing to say the Democrats stole it. How do we know, or what is leading you to believe Trump won by a landslide with so many Republicans pleading guilty and admitting they were cheating at the highest levels, by the way? Them fake electors were not trying to steal a few votes here or there or pretend like they're dead. They were trying to steal the electoral college votes for the whole damn state. How do we overlook that?
We got to back up. I didn't say I think he won in a landslide.
Do you think he won at all?
I'm not saying that there's not a possibility of it because I've seen and done too much research and seen too many things, and I don't prescribe to conspiracy stuff. I go with where I can find facts.
Is it possible with them all admitting they were trying to steal the electoral college votes for the whole damn state that the Republicans were the ones cheating? They're pleading guilty in court.
That's why they don't want to look into it. And there's never going to be a serious investigation until somebody else that's from the outside and can get the money and do it because they're all doing it.
Wait. They're actually being wait, hold on. Super Dave, they've been charged with a crime. What do you mean they don't want to look into it? It's the Republican Party that's trying to delay the cases. They actually are in court charging them.
And give me some, tell me some, because I'm going to look those up and see which ones you're talking
about. Trump's own lawyer, attorney Sidney Powell. Rudolph Giuliani's been charged in Arizona for the same thing. I'm giving you some of the greatest hits, but go ahead.
And they're okay. I'll look into their cases because I haven't done much research on that part of it.
The woman with the
two were clowns. Yeah, I thought both of those two were clowns. I had no love for either.
It doesn't matter. They were cheating on Trump's behalf, and Trump was dragging them on stage at rally after rally, saying that they were great people and helping out his cause. Even if they're clowns, he was doing that. Also, the woman with the smiling.
I'm look into what's in those, into those charges.
Yeah, the woman with the smiling mugshot, Fonnie Willis, the one we're always criticizing because she slept with her co-worker. The people she's charging, all of them folks, many of them have already pled guilty. They were trying to steal the election down in Georgia. Some of them pled guilty to it already. It's not even up for debate. They pled guilty.
In Georgia, who pled guilty?
I just told you, Sidney Powell, his attorney. She's one of them. The one that took the mugshot and she's smiling. The young girl that's smiling. She's one of them.
I don't watch a lot of the. I don't watch a lot of the mainstream news because all they do is try to once again fuel that fire of pissing everybody off. So
see that's where I think the divide or the disconnect is that, like you mentioned, I don't watch them. Like, you know about Democratic improprieties, dead people voting, Dominion voting. You hear about this stuff, even though all of that stuff is based on alleged, we believe this happened, or Democrat, we believe. But the stuff I'm talking about, they went in court and pled guilty to it, and you don't even know about that.
I have heard about those things. I have not done my research on those things of what they pled guilty to and what all the ins and outs of those are. I don't talk about that stuff unless I know the actual details of it, just like why I posted that pipeline thing, because that's actually there. You can find that research. That's why I posted the
But
other
that's
thing.
what I'm saying. You know more about allegations than people actually going in court, raising their right hand and saying, yes, I'm guilty. You know less about that, which is documented evidence.
Just like that, what's his face from Hillary's campaign thing actually got charged for that Russian hoax stuff?
Yeah, what about him?
I mean, it's the same stuff. I mean, it's on both sides. That's my point.
Yeah, but the reason I'm bringing up the stuff on the Trump side is because he's saying he won the election by a landslide when there is clearly a lot of significant evidence to show that the Republicans were cheating. We're actually trying to steal whole states at a time. Not just
they were cheating, or they were trying to go back and do things that weren't on the up and up to try to find out about the stuff.
That's like saying I want to break into a bank at night just to make sure they're putting the right date on the checks. You're not an elector.
It was illegal, but they weren't actually doing election cheating. They were trying to stop things that were not on the up and up and were illegal.
You don't get to pose as a fake elector. You don't get to pose as a fake elector to audit the system. Like I said, it's like breaking into a bank. I'm just trying to check and make sure the dates are right on the checks. You don't work here. What the fuck you doing in this bank?
Absolutely.
They were trying to steal the election, man. You don't become a fake elector to do an audit. What you're talking about? It's funny, but that's not what you do. If a liberal had done that, there's no way you would be on here suggesting, well, they were only trying to make sure things were being right.
No.
Yeah, it's crime. It's a crime.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. It's a crime. That's why they're pleading guilty to it.
All right, and that's why there's no way in hell you can suggest Trump won by a landslide with people trying to cheat at the highest levels in state elections.
And the problem is everybody wants to point fingers and say it's only one side that's doing it, and they're both doing it, and we the people gotta get. I went on one of those things.
Wait, hold on. What you said?
Before it gets forgotten.
Go ahead.
I went on one of those things, right? Where, oh damn it! Now I just had a brain fart. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You said it's happening on both sides. Give me some examples of Democrats cheating at the highest levels, trying to steal whole states.
Lyndon B. Johnson's nickname was because he was a cheater.
I'm talking about in modern times, not 60 years ago. Right now.
So let me ask you a question.
You didn't answer mine.
Everything we watched on election night.
You didn't answer. Hold on. You didn't answer my question.
I'm getting ready. I'm actually answering your question.
With Lyndon B. Johnson?
No. I'm getting past that. I'm leaving that. I'm going past.
Go ahead.
You mean to tell me that sending everybody home and pulling ballots out and not having anybody there to keep track of stuff that happened down in Georgia really was on the up and up? And that is perfectly, there's nothing stinks there at all. There's no poo smell coming out of that from anything at all. That all was on the up and up.
I'll respond by saying this. I will concede to you that to some folks, maybe that didn't look right. Where I have the issue with is this. If something doesn't look right, it equates to Democrats are cheating. That's where I don't agree with. Ruby Freeman, they're passing drives, so that means the Democrats are cheating. You don't know that. If I close down a polling place...
Now they've actually gone. You can find where they've gone and found. They just had it come up where there was... how many thousands of votes that shouldn't have been counted up in Michigan that actually came through the courts.
Okay.
That came through the courts.
Okay.
And most of it was because of same-day registration.
And I go back to my same statement again, just like on your last thing. things that don't look right do not automatically equate to Democratic cheating. Let's take your example in Michigan. All of these votes that should not been counted. How do we know they're not Republican votes? Why are we assuming that anything that don't look right is for the Democratic Party? Show me proof that those votes that shouldn't have been counted were all Democrat.
Right.
Right. That's where the problem. That is why
thousands of votes that should not have been counted.
Right, but
if that stuff is being allowed to happen, we're not auditing the system correctly. Just like all the money we're sending out all over the place, we're not getting receipts coming back, and nobody. Where's that money going?
All of that is entertainable. But once again, just because something doesn't look right does not give your side to step up and say we won by a landslide. That's where the problem. That is why Trump never made it past those 60 court cases, because it's all based on assumption. This didn't look right, so that would have been for me. That didn't look right. Those are votes for me. Show us proof that all of this stuff is pro-Democrat. He can't do that. He'll never be able to do that. And that is why it'll never come out that Trump won, because it's all based on assumptions. 2,000 Mules did that all over the place. We can show through phone records people coming to the same mailbox over and over again. Well, show me proof they're all voting Democrat. We can't do that. We're just assuming it. We can show video of people stuffing mailboxes over and over again. Well, show me proof that all of those votes they're putting in there are Democrat. We can't do that. We're just assuming it. That's what happened in 2020. It is a bunch of court cases that are all assumptions.
Well, that came out way too quick. There was never anything that actually was investigated.
But right. So if it wasn't investigated, then why the hell are they claiming victory?
You know, if
Take your time.
If you had some things that showed that some examples of impropriety, like these people weren't supposed to be allowed to vote, but they were allowed to vote, or that there's actually voting logs that show that people voted from addresses that don't even exist.
And I go back to my same question. People voting from addresses that don't exist. People voting that shouldn't be voting. Show me evidence they all voted Democrat. How do you know they didn't vote Republican from that address? Show me what you're taking claim for victory.
At the end of the day, if you can find that information, it should be looked into it, and that's where they still got us arguing over if it was for Trump or who it was for.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Trump is claiming victory.
Republican, Democrat, nothing. We shouldn't care about who it's for, but we're still playing sides. We're still playing sides and being pissed off at each other and going back and forth like you're bad, blue bad, red bad, this bad, you bad, instead of looking like, hey man, these motherfuckers are playing all of us.
You know what? You know why that's happening? Because instead of Trump pointing out that some things didn't look right, he the one that stepped up and said everything that doesn't look right is a vote for me. He is the one that originally started looking at fraud and taking sides on it. Instead of him saying that, look, this doesn't look right, maybe we need to investigate this. This doesn't look right, maybe we need to investigate that. No, he started claiming victory all over the damn place. He's where that started from.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I have nothing. I agree with you. And once again, I told you last time, if the dude would shut up and do his job and let the job speak for itself instead of stay off of Twitter and acting like a jackleg.
I don't disagree with that. I do got to move it on, but it's kind of too late to do that. People are dead. Ashley Babbitt can't come back. Him taking victory for stuff he has no proof, people have died because of that. Because they believed him. They're dead now.
Individual accountability. She made that decision. And I'm not saying that.
She made that decision to believe him, and now she's dead. He doesn't have proof of that stuff.
She believed enough that she put herself in that position because of what she looked into. That we're all grown. We're grown here, man. We're all grown and we all make our own decisions.
All right. That's like telling all the folks who drank the Kool-Aid, well, they made the decision. Fair enough. You told them they would be going to heaven in a spaceship, but hey, they're grown. They should have done it. I got to move it on, Super Dave. Yeah. Always welcome coming back.
We'll see you around.
All right. Fair enough. And look, at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about the election, that is my take on it always. You can't claim credit for everything that looks suspicious, and Trump did that. anything that did not look right, the automatic assumption is it was because the Democrats are cheating and those would have been votes for me. Dinesh D'Souza in 2000 Mules did it throughout the entire documentary. I watched it 6 times. And that is why attorneys and folks, in Washington, when Dinesh D'Souza said 2000 Mules would prove that Trump won the election, they dismissed it instantly. You can't go to court with assumptions. No judge is going to rule in your favor when most of your evidence is based on assumptions. You see my last guest pointing out things that didn't look right in the 2020 election. I didn't denounce anything he said. I gave him, face value. Okay, maybe that happened. Even though maybe I disagree, but just for the sake of the argument or the debate, for shits and giggles, okay, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. But then now show me when that happened, it happened in favor of Democrats. Can't do that. That's where the problem is. Dead people voted, or as he said, votes coming from addresses that should not have been voted. I didn't even try to challenge or whether that's true or not. I gave him credit. That's true. Okay, but show me the address that voted Democrat. Can't do that. And that's where the whole sticking point is. The minute he go to court and people start asking him or asking Trump in the Trump administration, okay, you look like you found a bunch of votes in a river that were tossed out. Okay, prove to me that they were all Republican votes that got tossed out. I can't do that. You're just assuming all of this stuff is in favor of the Democrats. You can't go to court with assumptions like that. 60 judges shot him down. Several of those judges were judges that would not have been a judge if Trump did not appoint them. They got their job from him, and they shot him down. 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. 3 of them got their job from President Trump. They didn't even listen to his election claims. There's too many assumptions in that. Can you imagine a precedent that would set if the next president was able to stop an election based on a ton of assumptions? It would be pretty good. I mean, it would cause a lot of chaos in this country, and that's what happened. Looking in the comments, though, caller was manipulated and is struggling to accept it intimately. And that's actually bad. I hate to say, people are dead because of that stuff. People were, and we're 3 years out. They died, January 2001? We don't have any more proof that supports what they believed back then. Now, 3 years later, we still don't have proof to suggest what they went to prison for, what Ashley Babbitt died for, is true. My last caller was pure MAGA, and he admits there's not enough evidence. Looking in the comments, though, we'll keep it moving. Team member Kelly D. Good afternoon, Kelly D. We will never unite, says Mama 84. Damn. That definitely sounds like my ex in court. Kelly D, good afternoon.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. So what do you think? What am I getting wrong here? Trump is suggesting...
No, you're not getting anything wrong here. There was a million things that he said, well, not a million, I won't exaggerate, that never happened. You were being very generous and just accepting, what he's saying for facts thing, but, you can't say if it was Democrats or Republicans, addresses that never voted. There's addresses that didn't exist or nobody lived at were voting. That didn't happen. That can't happen. Every ballot that's printed out has a registered voter attached to it. Period. There aren't any just blank ballots out there,
I would like to think
every
that
ballot has a serial number, and every serial number is attached to a registered voter.
Yeah. And I see in the comments on YouTube, someone said you can't force a state to provide evidence against themselves. Show me evidence that they really wanted to cheat. Because somebody's saying, well, look, the states actually cheated on behalf of Biden, but you're not going to be able to force it. Yeah, you can. You telling me a governor can never be held accountable? Rod Blagojevich, who Trump pardoned, was the governor of Illinois. They threw his ass in prison. What do you mean you can't force a state to provide evidence? I don't know. Some people have their mindset this way. Kelly, I don't think you can change them.
No, I know you can't. I've tried. And everybody wants to talk about those suitcases full of ballots that were pushed under that table, and they kicked everybody out and then pulled them out and started feeding them. That's not true either. I mean, they took a 5-minute clip out of an entire day's videos. Those boxes are actually boxes that votes are stored in.
But you already
go to the next day. They put seals on them. It's signed.
But you already know what I'm gonna say. Let's say, for instance, somebody comes to me with the suitcase under the desk that they're cheating with. My response is this: okay, let's say the suitcase was there. I'm not even gonna take that away from the argument. Show me those votes are Democrat. Show me proof that those votes in that suitcase were Democrat. Is it possible that a Republican put that suitcase under the desk in favor of the Republican Party? Show me proof. So that's what I'm saying, is that even when you...
No, I get what you're saying, and that's very generous of you. But, people's lives were ruined over it. You brought up those two women, the mother-daughter,
Ruby Freeman,
he said were passing back and forth drives. They were passing, the mom was passing a ginger mints to her daughter. Those women's lives were ruined. They had to leave their homes. They had to leave their hometown. I mean, granted, they won $100 million in, damages, but they're never going to get that. Giuliani doesn't have
I don't know. They'll
anymore.
get some of it. Giuliani, I mean, you talk about women who are, they'll get enough to change. I mean, you don't need to get a lot of money when you're at their level. I mean, you put $500,000 in my hand, you might not see me live again. I mean, you don't need to get a lot.
Right. But they're never going to get their hometown back. They're never going to get the home they grew up in back.
Yeah.
Or their friends, or it's just so wrong.
Yeah.
But the reason I came up, because there's something we talked about yesterday that I just wanted to address.
Sure.
I had said, if anybody really wants to know the level of his guilt, the level of anyone's guilt, watch the January 6th hearings. And you had said they're never going to watch that. All the evidence is from Cheney and whoever and Democrats.
Capitol Police.
I want you as a citizen who loves this country, because I know you do, just yourself and some free time to watch them yourself.
I watched it and listened to it live. The Capitol Police guy with the tattoo on his neck. In fact, he was outside of the court building today. And the African American Capitol Police officer.
So
I watched it all.
So you know that the testimony didn't come from the committee. The testimony didn't come from Democrats. It came from his own staff, people that have been with him for years. His own staff, his own cabinet, his own family.
But you got to understand, the moment, I don't care what your political affiliation is, I don't care how long you've been, whatever you've been, the minute you start testifying against Trump, you are a Democrat.
Yeah, I know. And I guess you're right there. But you have watched it, and that makes me feel good, because, you're an intelligent person.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I did too. Every minute of all 20 hours worth.
Yeah, I've said it before.
If anybody really loved this country, they would spend the time to do that.
Yeah, there's not a liberal bone in Liz Cheney's body. The idea that she voted with Trump 96% of the time. Yeah, she voted with Trump 96% of the time. All of a sudden, on January 5th, Liz Cheney was a Republican. She didn't lose her status until January 6th. That tells you everything. Her entire term, voting with President Trump, she would have easily won again in Wyoming. January 6th, she lost her whole status.
Yes, the Cheneys are one of the most conservative, known hard conservative families in politics.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Right, well, I am getting ready for work, and I am on verdict watch here. I know it's not going to come in before I have to leave for work.
Not likely. Well, come on back anytime, Kelly.
The jury just went home, if anybody wants to know. They've been dismissed for the day.
Oh, that's got to be...
To be continued.
All right, I hope they ain't riding the subway, but I got to move it on. Appreciate you coming through, Kelly.
Yes, see you next time. You have a wonderful day, man.
You too, thank you. With $100,000, I could turn everybody in this chat against each other by creating an algorithm designed to do exactly that. The idea that some folks speaking against Trump were bought out, that could happen. One of my callers before, not the woman last, but the caller before that, saying that, Attorney General Barr said the election wasn't stolen, maybe he was bought out, things like that. Well, I'm going to continue pushing the same thing that comes up in court. Evidence. If you believe that Mike Pence refused to take Trump's advice because he was evidence. The problem with the 2020 election is that the lack of evidence. There is way too many statements being made that are based on feeling. Trump's one of his monikers, fuck your feelings. A lot of the belief that the election was stolen in 2020 is based on feelings. I went to sleep. Biden was losing. I woke up. Trump is winning. I feel like something didn't happen right. Pennsylvania changed the way they're voting. All of a sudden, Biden wins Pennsylvania. I feel like they cheated. But when you start asking for evidence, it's all based on feelings. I've had a few MAGA come on the program and ultimately have to admit that it's not based on actual evidence. It's based on how people feel. Court is not going to rule in your favor on that. You could be right, but you got to show proof. And the overwhelming majority of people who believe the 2020 election was stolen, it involves a lot of just raw feeling. I feel like this happened. I feel like that happened. You're just never going to win in court like that. Looking in the comments, and a lot of things that Trump is saying has that same type of method of operation. It's based on either it's based on him saying something and people just falling in line behind it, or it's based on feeling. If the election was stolen in 2020, I do believe I've demonstrated that I'm moderate here for 3 years. 3 years we've ran this program. We don't have a moderator on here, by the way. We let people speak. I believe I'm a moderate, fair enough host on this that I would admit to you, shit, look, I'm not a fan of cheating, and I'll admit Biden got away with one. If Biden stole it, I would tell you. If I believed that Biden got away with one, I would certainly tell you that. I don't see the evidence. It's just not been presented. We're talking 3 years, folks. There should be far more evidence than has been presented that Trump, as he said, won by a landslide, millions of votes. He should be able to present far more evidence than he's come up with. As he mentioned, my last call, here's an address, people voting from it. That's not enough to defend a claim that you won by a landslide. So even if there were things in the 2020 election that didn't look right, or maybe were not right outright, some things were wrong. I don't believe a country with 350 million people, nearly half of them voting, is ever going to have an election that's fair. As I always point out, I don't think we've ever had an election in America that was 100% fair. I couldn't vote in most of them. Those damn sure wasn't fair. I couldn't even participate in most elections until probably the 1960s. So all of them motherfuckers was unfair. But at the end of the day, just because something is unfair, or better yet in Trump's case, something that doesn't look right, does not automatically equate to you winning. Trump didn't point out fraud. He said he won. You don't have evidence of that. He still don't have evidence of that. So now we switch from, okay, yeah, we don't have evidence, to, well, states are hiding it. People were bought out so they won't tell you the truth. Okay, didn't present evidence of that. Eventually, the statements being made, people are going to have to finally come out and admit, I don't have anything to prove what I'm telling you. I believe Trump won. I believe that the powers that be don't want to tell the truth that Trump won. Maybe they got bought out. Maybe they did it for what, but I can't prove any of this to you. That's where we're going to go with this in history, is that Trump said he won by a landslide and the evidence never came out. It'll be like the Kennedy assassination. One day we'll know. I mean, how many years has it been since Kennedy got assassinated? One day we'll know. I mean, and that's what'll happen. That's where it'll be. But I don't think we'll ever have solid proof to suggest Trump won by a landslide. I think that it'll go down in history that either it'll never come out or that he lied about it. Looking in the comments, find a news source that doesn't share opinion. In regards to news sources that share your local news, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. if you're on the East or West Coast, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News affiliates, not the cable news shit. All of that's opinionated. But if you're watching, you're sitting in Syracuse, New York, and the news comes on at 11 o'clock, there's not a lot of opinions on that. You can get that type. It's only 30-minute broadcast. There's no debating, and that's where you can get it kind of what minimum opinions. Now, they may only show you cases or stories that appeal a certain way. So even though you're not hearing opinions being featured, the news is being produced in a way that can sway your opinion. For instance, watching news down in Alabama, maybe they're showing you good things the Christian church is doing for the community, and you don't hear shit about the Muslims that's in town. It's skewing your opinions. I mean, just like, back in the day, you watch the news, you see African Americans committing crimes all the time, or they put an African American on that can barely speak the language, which is why even today, you often hear people say, well, he speaks so well. He's very articulate. Because I'm used to watching news where none of them can fucking talk. That's what they show me all the time. So it's hard to really escape opinion in the news, but I do appreciate you folks that are savvy enough to at least make the attempt to ensure you're being properly educated from all sides to the hour. A lot of us don't do that. Looking in the comments, though, it is this not opinion. Well, what you're watching now is heavily opinionated. We're definitely talking opinions here. This is heavily opinionated. Going back to the box, you guys tapping the screen. Get your boy on up to 70 on YouTube. 3 dots at the top of the screen. Smash that like button. Helps out the program, helps out the algorithm. TikTok, 120,000 likes is possible. I know I'm asking a bit much at this level. Beggars can't be choosy. Tap the screen, get your boy on up to 120,000. I do appreciate that. Could be anywhere you want to be this afternoon. By the way, this is an uncensored program. You know how we run. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You don't have to agree with the host. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak without any fear of being blocked, banned, or censored. You like that type of conversation? Follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central, 1300 hours is when we are here. Going back to the box, Miss Mo Betta, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Welcome back. So what do you think? You think Trump got it stolen from him in 2020?
According to him, yeah.
By a landslide. He won it all.
That's probably the funniest shit that we hear. For them to even still be talking about this is just so asinine. But I just want to give you credit for your patience today, because those callers, the caller before your last one, was hard to listen to.
What did he get wrong?
Almost everything that came out of his mouth. See, what was happening, it was you was presenting stuff to him, and most of your MAGA guests today were doing that. When you were presenting things to them, then they were like, yeah, but. Then they always backpedal. Oh, he meant that as a joke, or he didn't say that. Like, I'm like, how can Tim do this? I give you a... I will say this, and I agree with you on one point. I have never heard some people say that Trump has told so many jokes in such a short period of time. When Trump was a real estate mogul, I don't remember him acting like a comedian so much. When Obama was roasting him, yep, he didn't find things funny at all. Comedians normally can handle you telling jokes about them. I don't know, all of a sudden he became president, and now all of a sudden he's authoring so many jokes that people don't laugh at. I don't get it. Right. And you see, and what they also were doing, they were listening to respond and not for understanding. They don't want the clarity. They don't want the truth. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I wanted to get on there and say, shut the fuck up in real time. Now, the comments on here were going too fast for them to see it. I was like, oh, Tim, please bring me up. Because these, come on. Yeah, they have evidence of people dying and people going to jail.
Like all the evidence has been presented in your face, whether it was on social media news or broadcast news, or it was all over everywhere. How can you deny that?
Yeah.
That's disgusting, and that just shows the character. And that's why when I come on here, I speak a lot about your character carries you a long way, believe it or not. It carries you far, and that's why Trump is in this position now, because he has a horrible demeanor about him. He doesn't respect people, whether they're for him or against him. He has no respect for nobody.
But then I gotta push back with the typical response. A lot of black folks, from Oprah to Don King, Mike Tyson, it hung around Trump, showed him none but adoration and respect. What changed? Why are they now? A lot of folks saying he's racist and he's an awful guy. They were sure hanging around him
because they got to the money status they needed. Listen, I'm gonna rub elbows until I get to where I need it. And see, this is my opinion. Again, for those people, this is opinionated show. So when he had those classified documents, in my opinion, he was really ready to sell us out with those.
Whoa!
I need to know. I need some clarity and some leverage for when that time comes. And that's why he didn't want to give that stuff back. Why you think he's talking to these gas moguls and people in these big name places? Let me show you some information that you need. That's why he held that stuff.
So he was willing to use classified materials to basically, as you say, sell out the nation for his own benefit. You believe he was going to do that?
Absolutely. And this is why, and people got to pay attention when he speaks. That's why he said, well, if they don't want to pay, then I'm going to let whatever happens to them happen. He's willing to give up our superpower for him to be empowered. For him to feel like he's a dictator. Yes, I'm hard today.
Wow, you are very hard. So you basically saying he should, based on what you're saying, it's safe to assume, I guess, that you believe he should be disqualified from running.
He should be very much disqualified. Only, firstly, for him being so disrespectful. He is disrespectful. He couldn't even get on for a Memorial Day the other day just to say to honor the fallen soldiers or whatever. He couldn't even do that without having to go on with a rant afterwards. You could have did that in a whole separate post. Now, how can people buy into that? Or was that a joke to them?
Let me add something on to that, because you do make a good point. Him speaking, during times that are meant to commemorate things, and then adding on these rants afterwards. Because anytime somebody is murdered in a mass shooting, and the Democrats start talking about gun control, it's too soon. It's inappropriate to bring. No one says that to him. You're actually using holidays to attack people. Even Fox News, I watch the 5 every day. They don't attack on holidays. If you watch them on Christmas or you watch them on a holiday, even Fox News holds back on holidays.
Everybody does. You even have some people in other countries that don't even really celebrate, still have that level of respect.
Yeah.
And this is what makes us the laughing stock. And you see, for all of his supporters that think he's a joke, when Obama did that DNC and embarrassed the shit out of him, ever since then, he had a total hard-on for Obama. Yeah. He has a total hard. He talked about the other day, a doctor said that he was in more shape than Obama. I did.
Did he say that?
Yeah, that came out of his mouth.
Now that is laughable.
I love that Dr. Johnson. I think his name was Dr. Johnson. I love this guy. He said I'm better shape than Obama.
Wow.
I was like, are you serious? Did this idiot really just say that shit?
I'm gonna defend him by saying that was a joke.
You're right, Tim. Oh yeah, he was joking.
That was a joke.
Joking, right?
Wow.
And when people defending him, like dude in this comment saying that, oh no, he's just willing to protect us. Protect us from what? Come on, give us some kind of something to go up on, because we have nothing at this point.
Yeah, I don't know where else to go with that, but I did not realize.
Yes, he said that.
Oh my God.
Disgusting.
Well,
he is the joke.
So what do you think? What do you think the end results of this case is? Hung jury, guilty, innocent. What do you think is going to happen?
He's guilty. They know he's guilty.
That ain't what I'm asking you. What do you think's going to happen?
I get it. I think it's going to be a hung jury.
So
I think it's going to be a hung jury, simply because they that's going to take up another show. Because some of their ideologies is like, okay, I don't like the things he was saying, but I don't like the other side either. You know what I'm saying? So they're torn in the middle. They know he's a piece of shit. He's guilty, but the sad thing is he'll never go to jail. They won't put him in jail.
You know, I had somebody tell me that Trump will never be found guilty because there'll always be at least one MAGA on every jury. I believe that to some degree.
I so believe that, because you have a lot of people that throw the brick and hide their hands. Like, oh yeah, that's like a guy. Oh, I'm not racist, but anytime there's a but after a sentence, you already know. Scratch and sniff.
Damn. All right, Miss Mo Better. I gotta move it on. You got me grinning from ear to ear. Appreciate it.
Indeed.
Good talk. And looking in the comments, someone said something on YouTube I wanted to tackle. This goes right back to what I keep saying. Jeanette states that poll workers sent home for the first time in history. Another statement alluding to there was cheating in the 2020 election. Okay. Once again, I keep stating, I don't have to take away from any of the things you're presenting. Let's go with everything you're saying is true. That's my motto. If everything you're saying is true, I always respond that way. In regards to poll workers being sent home first time in history, let's go with that being true. Okay, prove to me that then at that poll office, folks are cheating on behalf of Democrats. Right back to the assumption pile. That's what I keep talking about. The 2020 election stolen claims don't work because there's too many damn assumptions. Ruby Freeman passing hard drives, USB drives rather, like they were vials of crack. Okay, once again, let's assume that is true. Prove to me what was on the drive was in favor of the Democrats. None of this stuff works unless you assume shit. None of it. Every single claim being made about the 2020 election only works when you add the words, I assume that this was happening because of what I just mentioned. None of it works. Dead people, votes in rivers, illegal immigrants, votes from addresses that shouldn't have been. None of it works without you assuming that then somebody was cheating on behalf of the Democrats. In none of those cases can you show me that, okay, that led to Democrats getting more votes. It's all been, well, I assumed if this happened in that neighborhood, they would vote for Democrats. I assumed if this poll office that's in Houston, but you can't go to court with assumptions. Like none of it works on face value. Because it all falls apart when you say, well, could the Republicans have done what you're suggesting to work in their favor? No, I just assume Democrats are doing it. None of that works. None of it does. That's what causes 60 court cases to get rejected, is me asking that simple question. Could Republicans have done what you're talking about to work on their behalf? And if so, can you prove that Republicans didn't do what you're bringing up? All of that stuff falls apart. Every single claim, it all falls apart. Looking in the comments, that's on both sides. And we can go with the both sides. For folks that, well, they were doing this. Okay, fine, we can go with the both sides argument. But that ain't what Trump is saying. He said he won by a landslide. The landslide claim is in there. Trump didn't allege that cheating's happening on both sides. He stated he won by a landslide. And it's based on those assumptions that can't be proven. None of that can. People who were watching 2,000 Mules, finding it to be the know-all end-all, because they walked into the theater believing one thing: Republicans are honest, Democrats cheat. If you believe that, 2,000 Mules is completely factual. It makes sense. Republicans are honest, Democrats cheat. And that's how people walk. So Dinesh D'Souza in 2,000 Mules is really just telling you shit you already believe. It's like telling a woman that spent 6 hours in front of the mirror after going to the gym for the last 6 months that she looks good. You're kind of telling her what she want to hear. You might get her number from that. I mean, that's what he's doing. He's telling you what you kind of want to hear already. Doesn't work in court, though. It doesn't work in court. Look at it in the comments, though. Left is slimy mostly. All right, Sandra. Once again, let's go with that. Like I said, I'm not disputing any of the things you guys are presenting. Let's go with the left is slimy mostly. Prove to me that the left was the ones doing all this stuff. Where's the proof? Okay, slimy liberals. Show me that they were doing all the things that are being alleged, though. You can't do it without assuming. You don't win in court with that. None of this stuff. And I hate your hat up there. Why would you hate the MAGA hat? This is quality material. Why would you hate the MAGA hat? That's all true. Like you said, the assumptions is the only thing keeping a ton of people out of jail. It did happen. Please cheat it on as there is any evidence that is let out. People will go to jail. I don't quite get that comment, Don, but I'm just simply saying. I see in the comments somebody said Hillary Clinton still thinks she's won. Okay, fair enough. By your logic. Thank you, Gen X, supporting the program. I don't get much of that after a $3,000 car repair. I could use it. But in the comments, Gen Xer, by your logic, if I take someone out, but it can't be proven because I was smart enough to hide all the tangible evidence, no crime was committed. Shout out to OJ. Yeah, that is true. What do you want? A life like the Minority Report? Yeah, if they can't prove their case, you walk. Even on murder. Yeah, that is true. You asking if I take someone out, if I take somebody's life, but it can't be proven because I was smart enough to hide all the tangible evidence, no crime was committed. You want people being arrested for things that can't be proven? Yes. If the prosecution can't prove their case, you don't belong in jail. Yes. The answer to your question is yes. Even as a murderer, if the prosecution can't prove it, we can't have you going to prison. Otherwise, a lot of innocent people would get locked up under that type of a system. Yeah, I stand by that statement. They're doing it at Donald Trump. Why not? Donald Trump is accusing people of all kinds of shit he can't prove. I mentioned Ted Cruz in 2015 when Trump was running against Ted Cruz and was losing to him in the Iowa election. It's 2015. They were both seeking the Republican nomination. We know Trump ended up winning. He accused Ted Cruz of cheating and stealing votes. No evidence. No evidence at all of that. Even to this day, some 9 years later, there's no evidence that what he said was even true. Just made it up. Trump stated in North Carolina in the 2020 election, leading up to that election, North Carolina, for a while, the polls were showing that Biden was out front. Once again, Trump stepped in and said that North Carolina state featured a lot of cheating. Election fraud was happening in North Carolina. Once he won North Carolina, you never heard about it again. Never. If there is fraud in North Carolina, as he alleged, why aren't you trying to get to the bottom of that? You're admitting you may have won a state fraudulently. You don't seem to care about it. It's not coming up. Why is that? I mean, he's saying that fraud happened. Should he not be held accountable for not bringing? Somebody gave me a fucking galaxy, and I want to thank you for that. Mayhem. Wow. Thank you for the galaxy. Thank you for the support. Thank you. That really means a lot right now. Thank you. But yeah, the issue is you can't just throw stuff out there. As I pointed out, Senator Fetterman was running against Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz was being promoted by Trump. He accused Pennsylvania of cheating in the Senate race. To this day, we've heard no proof of that. No proof at all. In fact, Dr. Oz, who he was endorsing, stepped forward and said, that's not happening here. I'm losing fair and square. Dr. Oz stepped in and stated that. We still haven't seen proof that Barack Obama was born in Kenya. I'm just simply saying, if Trump is being mistreated, Do we care about the fact that he may possibly be making up lies to hurt other people? Is it wrong to ask for evidence of some of this stuff? He said 95% of the jury in New York is out to get him because they're Democrats. 95% of the jury in this Alvin Bragg case are Democrats. Is it wrong to ask him for some evidence of that? 95%. Is it wrong to ask? I mean, he's making these statements. People are losing their lives for some of this stuff. Gen X says, great, we agree, but if we know damn well it was done, do we not keep searching for evidence until justice is served? You can't throw out allegations without proof. That's all I'm saying. If Trump won by a landslide, we're 3 years out. We're 3 years out, Gen X. There should be more evidence than this. You shouldn't, if you can go on TV and say you won by a landslide, anything you tell me that you're definitively sure it happened right now, I don't want to hear in 2027 that you're still investigating it to provide me with evidence. Why would you bring it up in 2024? If here we are in 2027 and you're still saying, well, I'm looking into it, then it makes it look like what you said in 2024 was based on bullshit. We should have solid evidence now that Trump won by a landslide. 3 years. There's no way in hell it should still be, quote unquote, being investigated. It should be over with by now. There should be at least enough evidence to convince everybody that, yeah, it looks like he's on to something. I don't even hear most of the Republican Senate, Republican Congress, saying that, yeah, it looks like he might have been on to something. Even the Republicans do not believe what he was talking about seems valid. How many Republican senators are saying that, yeah, it looks like the election was stolen? Republicans, not talking about Democrats. Are they all in on the fix too? Lisa, thank you for the heart and certainly for those coins that were rained down from the ceiling. I didn't see who sent that. That was Lafty. Appreciate that. So, is it wrong to ask for evidence? That's all I'm saying. Does that make you a liberal? A sellout? Because you don't take it at face value and say, well, sir, could you present some evidence of what you're saying? Does that instantly mean you're now committing treason because you challenged them? You have so much faith in our justice system, says Ruth Ray. I get your point, but it's not just the justice system that's saying Trump is not being honest. Attorney General Barr, Ambassador Bolton, these are all people Trump hired, by the way. All people that Trump hired. These aren't liberals. These aren't independents. These are people that Trump went out and did his due diligence and hired for his administration. All saying he lost. Why would they do that? All of them? Is there any member of Trump's own administration? Ben Carlson, is any of them saying he won that election? Any of them? Are they all bought and paid for too? Because you know what I'm going to ask? Show evidence. Show evidence that Mike Pence was paid to say he lost. That Attorney General Barr came back and said his claims are bullshit because somebody was giving him money. Show evidence. I will submit to you those are the most destructive words to the Stop the Steal campaign. 2 words. Show evidence. Conversation ends. Conversation ends when you say that. Generally, the 2 words in response to show evidence, I feel. It is your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal, 1 p.m. Central. I will see you tomorrow. You already know I work for the man. Gotta go. Thank you, folks, and for my YouTube viewers. Wow. Thank you, folks, on TikTok. There is no evidence. I'm telling you. By the way, Mike Lindell, I don't know if Mike Lindell can even show you an ATM receipt to how much money he's lost, but I see in the comments somebody said Mike Lindell can show you. Catch you guys tomorrow.